This week, hey baby, how about Mr. Consistency? William Russell Wallace. Always running up front, always there at the end. A true contender for the crown in 1994. It'll be Dipsy-Doo Dunkaroo time. Don't forget the up-and-coming superstar, the bumper, the banger, Mr. Virgil Ernest Irvin Jr. He's leading the pack every week. Hey, we have all the PT peers. And finally, my big fish, the Marlin. He hooked the big one in Daytona, baby. A sterling performance, a new PT peer. It's madness, baby. They're leaving Charlotte. They're heading for Atlanta. Atlanta with the big A, baby. It'll be awesome, baby, with a cap.
We're live from Atlanta Motor Speedway. The best NASCAR has to offer are ready to run in the Purolator 500. It's a great day for racing, a little cool, but not nearly as cool as it was here 1 year ago when a blizzard ripped through the eastern United States and shut this racetrack down for a week. It's going to be a great day for racing. Hello and welcome. I'm Paul Page, and this is the start of ABC's racing season. Stock cars in a few minutes, the International Race of Champions later today, our coverage of the Indy cars, including the Indianapolis 500, and then in August, we'll have the stock cars again in the inaugural running of stock cars at the great Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard 400. Now, Hoop Man was talking about madness and excitement, and that's what you have in the Winston Cup Series. Consider the qualifying is so great now that it's almost as exciting as the race. 9 cars did not make it into the field today, including the former Indy champion, Danny Sullivan. Now, that's understandable. Well, what about this? The great number 43, the King's car, driven by Wally Dallenbach Jr., it's not in the field either. We're talking about some great excitement and some great stories upcoming. To call today's race, Bob Jenkins.
Thank you very much, Paul, and hi, everyone. This is the 4th race of the 94 season, and no driver has dominated so far, but Ernie Irvan has been the best. He's atop the point standings as we enter this event. Dale Earnhardt is second. Sterling Marlin, the Daytona winner, is third, followed by Mark Martin and Terry Labonte, and 185 possible points are available here today. Now, yesterday during Basketball March Madness, there were many upsets, not just one. Likewise, there have been many stories here at Atlanta this weekend, not just one. To begin a rundown, here's Dr. Jerry Bunch.
Thanks, Bob. The much-anticipated tire wars of '94 have not materialized. Although upstart Hoosier qualified first in 3 of the first 4 events with rookie driver, yes, I said rookie driver, Loy Allen, they have not been a factor on race day. Their engineers say that will change here today. Jack?
Jerry, consider the plight of a former Winston Cup champion named Darrell Waltrip, who's won 3 races in Atlanta. He is starting all the way back in 40th position. He was the slowest qualifier, and he's making his 600th career start. Now, he also is on Hoosier tires like the pole winner. Go figure. John?
Well, Jack, Dale Earnhardt, the defending series champion, starts 16th. You know, Dale has sort of changed his dominator role to one of consistency, finishing in the top 10 8 times in his last 8 races. Here at Atlanta, he wins a race about every 5 events. Well, it's been 8 races since his last visit to Victory Lane here, so you could say he's due today. Jerry?
Rusty Wallace believes that history indeed repeats itself. For the past 2 years, he's wrecked at Daytona, gone and dominated Rockingham to win, then finished second at Richmond to the car number 28. History says today he will move to the front, lead early, falter late with fuel problems, and finish third. John?
Well, if anybody's trying to take on the role of the dominator, it is Ernie Irvan. This year alone, 3 races, a win, a 2nd place, and a 5th place. In fact, since taking over Robert Yates' Thunderbird, Ernie has 3 wins in 12 races. Jack?
The race in Richmond, Virginia last week, he credited fast pit work by his pit crew, said they're the fastest in the business. Whoa, wait a minute, says Rusty Wallace's crew, led by Buddy Parrott. They say we're the fastest. They've laid down a personal challenge to each other to see who indeed will be the fastest today in the Purolator 500. Benny, what does all this mean?
Jack and folks, that means that to win in 1994, everything has to be 100%. I'm talking about car, engine, pit crew, and a driver. And that's really the problem for Hoosier. They've got 8 teams on their tires, but 5 of those teams have rookie drivers, 1 brand new team. Only Jeff Bodine and Darrell Waltrip have ever really won and know how to win in Winston Cup racing. My Final 4 for today, from Missouri, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt from North Carolina, Mark Martin from Arkansas, and Ernie Irvan from California.
So many great stories ahead of us this afternoon in the Purolator 500. When we come back, we'll take a look at the starting lineup, led to the green flag by rookie Loy Allen.
just going to tap you, Bobby.
Knocked me off my chair.
Got it?
Okay. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where it seems like they are always building a new grandstand or some other facility for the fans here. The track itself is one of the true ovals in a so-called series of ovals, symmetrically round, 1.522 miles around the course. The real key here is that they are in the turns so very much during a single lap that handling is absolutely critical. Today, 328 laps, 500 miles. And now the starting lineup for today's Purolator 500 here at Atlanta. The Busch pole winner, his second pole in 4 races this year. His other one was at Daytona. Loy Allen in the number 19 Hooters Ford. Outside row number 1, last week's pole winner at Richmond, Jeff Bodine driving the Exide Batteries Ford, car number 7. In row number 2, Texan Terry Labonte, who won his first pole here back in 1981. Outside, Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas, a winner at this track in 1991. Starting in 5th position, the fastest rookie, last year's Busch Grand National champion Joe Nemechek from Lakeland, Florida. Also in the 3rd row is Rich Bickle in the number 9 Melling Ford, the driver and car's second start of the year. Row number 4, the current NASCAR Winston Cup points leader, Ernie Irvan. This is his 13th race with the Robert Yates team. He has won 3 times and 9 top 6 finishes, an amazing 2.666 average finish during the 1994 season. The 8th starter, another rookie, South Boston, Virginia's Ward Burton. The 9th place starter is Chuck Bound, driving for the legendary Bobby Allison, and alongside will be Greg Sachs, his best start of this year. Harry Gant will go inside of row number 6. 30 starts at Atlanta, finished second 3 times, but has never won this race, but he had a dominating performance yesterday in the Busch Grand National event.
Chuck Bound in row 5, we saw that. Rusty Wallace back in row 6, the fellow who won the race here last fall. Back in row 7, Jeff Burton, another rookie. Morgan Shepherd, the winner here last spring. Brett Bodine and Dale Earnhardt, the defending champion, make up row 8.
And in the 9th row is the last year's Rookie of the Year, Jeff Gordon. His first NASCAR Winston Cup start was here in 1992. And outside row number 9, Curtis Markham, the first 94 start for him in the Children's Miracle Network Ford.
Todd Bodine back in row 10 alongside Wisconsin veteran Dick Trickle.
And in row number 11, without question, the hometown favorite, Bill Elliott from nearby Dawsonville. Ricky Rudd starts also in row number 11. In the 12th row, it's Sterling Marlin, the Daytona 500 winner, and Ken Schrader.
Row 13, Jimmy Spencer and John Andretti of the IndyCar family. Kyle Petty and Jeff Purvis in row 14.
In number 15, Derek Cope, number 98, Bobby Labonte in number 22. The 16th row consists of rookies Steve Grissom and Michael Waltrip in number 30.
Back in row 17, we've got Bobby Hamilton, Lake Speed. Row 18, Ted Musgrave, and last year's Daytona 500 champion Dale Jarrett.
In row number 19 for today's race, Rick Mast, alongside Dave Marcus. The 20th row, Hut Strickland, and making his 600th NASCAR Winston Cup start here today is Darrell Waltrip, the slowest qualifier to make the field.
Here are the provisionals for today's Purolator 500. Jimmy Hensley and Mike Wallace in the number 90 car.
In another lap, we'll get the green flag and be off to go, maybe a couple of more laps. It's a little cool here today, so perhaps they're giving him another lap to get the engines properly warm. Several in-car cameras will follow the action for you here today at Atlanta. We're riding with Mark Martin in the number 6 car as he lines up in 4th starting position in the Valvoline Ford. Here's Bill Elliott, who won both races here back in 1992 and in 85 and is a 5-time winner at this event.
And a huge favorite here in Atlanta. He's from North Georgia.
Morgan Shepherd, who is the defending champion of this event, will also carry one of our in-car cameras in the number 21 Citgo car.
That's a roof cam. That's on the top of the car camera. Derek Cope also has a camera. Right now, some interference there. We see, looks like Derek Cope's camera. We're still on the top of Morgan Shepherd, Citgo Ford. There's Derek Cope. His finger hut forward. Number 98 was Cale Yarborough's entry.
And then the number 90 car that will be driven here today by Mike Wallace. Now, this car was formerly in the hands of Bobby Hillen, but they had a parting of the ways over the past couple of weeks, and now Mike Wallace is in the cockpit. The green flag is about to wave, and the Purolator 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway is underway. Jeff Bodine has jumped into the lead and will come off corner number 4 and lead lap number 1. The pole sitter has dropped back to 4th position. Up front, it is Jeff Bodine, who started outside the front row in the lead, with Terry Labonte running in 2nd position, and then Joe Nemechek in 3rd as they battle for the 4th position. There is Allen, number 19, and on the high side is Ernie Irvin. Now Mark Martin moves alongside of Loy Allen. We're riding with Mark now.
Uh-oh, something wrong with Sterling Marlin. The Ford car off the pace. Looked like he's heading for the pits.
The Daytona 500 winner has problems on the 2nd lap and comes in for a pit stop.
Looks like he made contact with someone. That grill is not supposed to be that short. John Kerner, what's the problem?
Benny, you're exactly right. What I saw when the race got underway, Bobby Hamilton took evasive action as they took the green flag. Perhaps Sterling was involved in something and Bobby had to miss the action. But yes, Sterling's front grille has been pushed back. A real big disappointment for this team. That's going to cause them losing the lap right now in the pit. They had worked on this car all weekend and thought they had a contender for today's race. But right now, Larry McClure, Tony Glover, and the crew put down the hood. The engine has still not fired, so he may be here for quite a while.
Sterling Marlin, 59 points in behind Ernie Irvin in the points lead as we enter this event, but has suffered some unfortunate situations here in the early going. Now up front we have a 2-car battle as Terry Labonte moves the car to the inside of Jeff Bodine at the line. They cross it side by side, head for turn 1, and Labonte is going to take the lead from Bodine.
And right behind these two, we see Ernie Irvin, and the Howland car has caught the duo. And this car in 1994, the 28 car has been, as you said, Bob, the dominant car.
A 3-car battle up front, and then quite a bit of separation. We get back to the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th place runners. There is Joe Nemechek leading the 2nd group, but Mark Martin comes up to challenge him on the inside, and that's Greg Sachs in the U.S. Air car, as Ernie Irvin now comes to the inside of Bodine and takes over 2nd position. Now, of these drivers, only Jeff Bodine is on the Hoosier tires. Both Irvin and Labonte are on the Goodyears.
Irvin, all those cars, just a few laps into the race, cars look good, and there's another spin.
Oh, we have a crash up in turn 3. It's John Andretti, I believe, who is up into the wall. Yes, Andretti damages the left side of the car badly. Former IndyCar driver who has made his way into NASCAR Winston Cup competition and did an outstanding job of qualifying here this weekend. But as you can see, the car is damaged badly as he drives it down the banking onto the apron of the racetrack, and he'll be making his way to the pit area.
Something happened to the 12 car of Chuck Bound. Let's watch what we have in replay. There's the 14 car, and we can see that he made some contact. That Steve Grissom just touched him in the left rear, and around goes Andretti, and man, did Derek Cope just miss him as he went up and backed in the wall. But in front of this action, the 12 car was slowing dramatically. There's the 12 car coasting on the apron of the racetrack.
That's Chuck Bound in the car owned by the legendary Bobby Allison. Now John Andretti has made his way to the pit area. So our first caution flag is out at the completion of 7 laps. It is Terry Labonte in the lead over Irvin, Bodine, Martin, and Sachs.
Triple.
Neil, you have anything from Derek Colt's in-car? Wasn't that him that just missed Andretti? Seconds. Slob dropped his watch.
Here's ring. His diamond.
Only got 320 laps to go.
We're back at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is Paul Page, and we are under caution caused when John Andretti got it into the wall and got it into the wall hard, but was able to drive it back into the pit area. Next Saturday at 1 o'clock, 12 noon Central, ABC Sports begins coverage of the Lipton Championships with the women's final. Then, ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour heads to the Big Apple for the Long Island Open. And on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Christy Yamaguchi competes in the Durasoft Colors World Challenge of Champions. Plus, Tommy Moe takes off in World Cup downhill skiing. That's all Saturday right here on ABC Sports. Well, under the caution, it's Terry Labonte that leads the field around. And as we look at the top 10, Sterling Marlin, the winner of the Daytona 500, had contact in the opening lap of the race, came into the pits, but he is back out on the speedway right now. And what caused this caution period? Well, Benny and Bob, we can take a look at that.
Yeah, it happened up between turns number 3 and 4. John Andretti, number 14, watch the slight contact that he has with Steve Grissom.
Just a little bit of nudge in the left rear quarter sends him around. Up he goes, and bam, back in the wall. Looks like he was running about 50 miles an hour, right, folks? Wrong. About 125 when he backed in the wall.
Let's go to John Kernan, who's with John Andretti.
Well, John, the 12 car Chuck Bound had blown an engine, possibly putting some oil down. Is that what happened to you?
Well, he definitely put oil down, and whether I definitely got into it, and I guess I don't know whether I can learn something from that or what, but how the rest of them make it through, I don't know. I guess trying to miss me when I got caught in the oil, so it's unfortunate for our team, but you know, Billy Hagan team's strong, and we'll work, and we'll be back next couple weeks.
You know, as a rookie, you've had some remarkable runs this year and run really well for a team that does not have a major sponsorship. That's got to be very make you feel pretty good about the possibilities of the future.
It does. I believe that if we get when we get a major sponsor, that for sure it's going to, you know, improve the team dramatically. We got such a great team, and we're working with such you know, limited funds that absolutely, and financial world's a big part of that, and Canal Insurance, and a lot of other people have helped us, Big A Auto Parts, and then we have Freedom Village on this weekend as a, you know, part because we have one of the boys working on our team, so we're real pleased with the whole effort.
Okay, sorry to see you out, John. Bob, they've got a lot of work to do. The rear clip has been pushed way down, so they're either done for the day or a lot of work in the garage area.
Considerable damage to the John Andretti car. Sort of minimal damage to Sterling Marlin, but it's enough to cause some problems. Now, let's see if we can determine what happened here.
All right, there's Sterling Martin. Runs right in the back of Bill Elliott. And we can see the damage has already been done. Jimmy Spencer taking evasive action. And we saw that the two black cords across the hood of the car. Evidently, Sterling has broken all the hood pins. The pins that hold the hood down, they've got some cords over the hood. See the black cords right in the center holding the hood down.
So the first caution continues here at Atlanta as a large crowd looks on the Purolator 500. We'll be right back.
Broke all the hood pins on that 4 car?
Yeah, Benny, it looked like the hood pins that had broken off were on the right. As you look at it on the right side, it looked like 1 or 2 were still intact. But their problem is they've closed up all the ductwork, so they're going to be overheating. They thought the radiator might have been broken. They got a spare radiator just in case they have problems later on.
Gotcha.
Okay, good. He's been kind enough to wait with it. That'd be nice. Thank you.
You look good.
Thank you.
With who? Oh, okay. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
They tricked us on that green flag, Bob.
Yeah, I thought
The lights were on down in turn 1. Like,
yeah.
Oh, well. Ned, if you're listening on the satellite, they tricked us.
Ned, where are you? By the way, I hope you're feeling well. Where is Loy?
16th, somebody said.
He's just direct. We've never been able to convince him that he should just direct and shut up. The field has completed a half lap under green. That's Terry Labonte leading Ernie Irvan through the 3rd and 4th turns. But look at Irvan put the Ford to the bottom of the racetrack and try to take over the top spot from Labonte. They cross the line side by side and head for turn 1 as Jeff Bodine looks on in 3rd. Irvan has the lead.
Labonte said, hey, it's early in the race. There's no point fighting like this. He backed up, let Ernie Irvan have the lead. Meanwhile, Jeff Bodine looking pretty racy.
Bodine hanging right in there in 3rd position as these two cars have broken away from the others. Mark Martin is running back in 4th position. Now Martin begins to close up on Bodine, and Greg Sachs runs in 5th position.
There's Ward Burton on the inside of Joe Nemechek trying to get to the front. 2 rookies.
That's the battle for 6th position, and Ward Burton has it. Now Dale Earnhardt will move the number 3 car to the bottom of the track and pass Joe Nemechek and pick up that position.
Ward Burton, the blue and orange car. Earnhardt, the black number 3, and Joe Nemechek, the black and yellow number 41. Rusty Wallace right by, and Nemechek goes extremely high. Gives the opportunity to Rusty Wallace to get alongside. Here comes Rusty. And no, folks, you're not seeing anything. That's a Ford emblem on the hood of Rusty Wallace's car. He switched brands this year from Pontiac to Ford.
Nemechek is giving him a good run, though, not letting Rusty get away, and almost contact between the two coming off of the 2nd corner. Down the backstretch, they still race side by side. Nemechek will just not give the position up.
Meanwhile, Brett Bodine has closed up. The Bodine brothers. The green car is Brett. The blue and white red car is Todd Bodine.
And, of course, the other brother, Jeff, is running in 3rd position at the moment.
So we have 3 Bodines in the top 11 spots.
Now, Brett Bodine moves the 26 Quaker State car to the outside of the racetrack as he tries to pass Rusty Wallace.
Also joining this battle is Harry Gant in the number 33 car there on the right of your screen, and Ricky Rudd.
And Jeff Burton, don't forget him, the blue and white car. He's also a rookie. Ricky Rudd, the tied fourth. That's his car. He's an owner this year for the first time.
Dr. Jerry Punch is standing by on pit road with Bobby Allison.
This legendary driver won here 5 times. And Bobby, it's been a short day for the Chuck-bound Ford Thunderbird.
Well, it really has. You know, the guys have worked so hard, and Chuck's done a nice job. And, you know, Relife and Big B and Crown Fiber helped us today. And, you know, just something went wrong.
Any idea what happened this morning? You changed an engine. You had a problem yesterday in the last session. You changed the motor this morning, and now you've lost the second one. Any idea what the problem might be?
Something went wrong with the engine, I guess. I'm not sure.
Bobby Allison, what a tough break for a great competitor.
Indeed. Bobby Allison's car out of the race already. That's the battle for 8th position as we swing to the front of the field and show you that Ernie Irvan is still leading over Terry Labonte. Now Jeff Bodine has dropped back a little bit in 3rd position as Mark Martin closes in on the number 7 car of Bodine.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Bob.
And we get word that the 75 car of Todd Bodine is showing a little bit of smoke from the back end of that car.
Yeah, that's not an engine problem. He has an oil leak because the car is running too fast for it to be a problem. But NASCAR will not allow him to stay out there smoking that way. He's going to have to come to the pit area, and that is too bad.
The NASCAR officials are looking at his car very closely to determine whether or not they should call him in. If they determine there is enough fluid leaking from that car, they will bring him in, and it's quite evident that there is some kind of a leak on the 75 car as now he pulls to the inside of the racetrack, and Ricky Rudd and Harry Gant are there beside him. Bodine had a great run at Daytona, was involved in an accident. Now we have a battle shaping up for 3rd position. Once again, Mark Martin, with whom we are riding right now on the roof cam, closes in on Jeff Bodine.
We're actually turn 2 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. See Jeff Bodine. He's in the black and number 7. Mark Martin, red, white, blue, number 6.
Look at Martin close in on Bodine as the car is a little loose coming out of the corner, and Mark tries to get a fender under him, but can't. Bodine holds on to that position. Now here's the telemetry showing you the RPM, the miles an hour, and of course he'll always be in 4th gear except for pit stops. 171 miles an hour at the end of the backstretch before lifting. And only dropping to about 155 before getting back on the accelerator.
Watch this, up to 180 this time, I think.
This is the 3rd fastest speedway on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit.
So I think 184 right there. See the wiggle. Bodine's car wiggling. See that wiggle? Mark doesn't like that. He wants to get by because when that car's wiggling like that, he feels like that Bodine is having some handling problems. And we see that Greg Sachs, the U.S. Air car, has caught this twosome.
This is 3rd, 4th, and 5th right here. Bodine, Martin, and Greg Sachs in the 77 car.
As we watch this, Ward Burton, who had a great run going, is slow. There he is going in turn 3. Looks like he's got a terminal problem, headed for the pits.
Started in 8th position, the young rookie from South Boston, Virginia, who has spent many years in the Busch Grand National Series, making his debut in Winston Cup competition this year. He's headed for the pit area. They had an engine problem during the final practice session yesterday also.
Installed a new engine, did not get a lot of practice. Yesterday afternoon, we saw a new engine this morning, but evidently there's no kind of problem with that.
And the battle for 3rd continues on, but positions have not changed as Bodine continues to hold on to 3rd, and Mark Martin looking for the opportunity to pass. Almost every time, Benny, coming out of the corner, that number 7 car will wiggle a little bit.
And if we can see it on the screen, he's wiggling big time to Jeff Bodine because he feels things that we can never see on the screen.
And Mark Martin is also wishing that the wiggle wasn't there.
Let's watch Mark Martin as he goes down the back straightaway this time, see what kind of miles per hour he's able to attain. 187. Whoa.
So, Benny, you're almost as fast at the end of the straightaways here as you are at Daytona. Almost.
Almost, because these engines are running unrestricted, no restricted plates, about 720 car, whereas Daytona with the restrictor plates about 450 horsepower.
But as Paul indicated at the beginning of the broadcast, you are 2/3 of a lap in a corner here, and the straightaways are just almost non-existent.
They're 1/4 mile long, but by the time you really get off the corner and get going straight and go into the next corner, that 1/4 mile becomes actually about 1/8 of a mile.
Let's go back and catch some of the action behind those that are running in the top 10. Way back here in the back of the field is the number 51 car. That's driven by Jeff Purvis. The number 9 is in the hands of Rich Bickle this weekend. There's Jimmy Hensley in 55, and then Sterling Marlin. And remember, he ran into the back of Bill Elliott as the green flag was coming in. That's the reason that he has the damage on the front of his car. Steve Grissom in the number 28 car pulls alongside Hensley. And of course, Steve Grissom is the 1993 Busch Grand National champion who has also moved over into Winston Cup.
Just for your information, the number 4 car is 3 laps behind. They spent 3 laps in the pits looking at the damage, surveying it. He's back on the racetrack.
2 cars out of the race at this moment. That's John Andretti, who crashed in the early going, and an engine problem has sidelined the Chuck Bound car. And the number 2 car of Rusty Wallace is being black flagged. That'll be interesting to see what. There is the indication to the driver. The black flag will come out of the number 2, indicates that it is the number 2 that is getting that flag. So there's an interesting development here in the early going with 28 laps completed.
I don't see any smoke. He's running 10th. I don't know what in the world is wrong.
Well, we'll get our pit reporters on that.
Yeah. They're down the pit right now, talking to much Brad the crew, trying to find out exactly why Rusty Wallace, here he comes in.
He's a 2-time winner at this racetrack. Both of his wins have come in the fall race. Now he drops down off the 24 degrees of banking and heads for the pit area. Here's Dr. Punch.
Apparently about 3 or 4 laps ago, some of the spotters noted that Rusty Wallace's right side window looked to be coming loose. NASCAR noted it and said we're going to have to black flag him, bring him down pit road, and they're going to have to tighten that side window. An unfortunate situation as the crew now goes to work, and apparently they're going to tape the right side window. That is Todd Parrott, Buddy Parrott, the crew chief, in the bright yellow shirt. And now Rusty is down and away. No tire change. They topped it off in fuel and taped the right side window.
The unfortunate thing is he did lose a lap.
He did lose a lap. What we're talking about, folks, is a piece of plexiglass or Lexan bulletproof glass that goes in the right door window of these race cars. NASCAR instituted that several years ago, trying to help these cars stay on the ground when they spun, and the rules dictate they have to be in there. Well, part of that window broke out. Not the entire window, but just like where your vent window would be on an old car, that broke out of that window for some reason.
So Rusty gets back up to speed as he is a lap and a half down to the leader, Ernie Irvan. Here's the second place battle now as Bodine has come right up to challenge Terry Labonte.
Yes, Bodine is pulled away from Mark Martin and closed up on the back of Labonte. So here's Bodine. His Excite battered car went extremely well early on in the going.
ABC's coverage of the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are 31 laps into this 328-lap event. The top 5, Ernie Irvan, Terry Labonte, Jeff Bodine, Mark Martin, and Greg Sachs. What happened? Was he on the inside?
Yeah. It's right behind that Georgia.
Okay. Curtis Marker, right?
Yeah. Out here.
Yeah.
Audio check 1 2. You got it back? Audio check 1 2 3 4 5 4 3 2 1. They changed the battery. I can hear you now. Tell me, give me a leaderboard since I've been off.
Okay.
A lot of people say best IROC race they've ever seen.
Paul and Bobby and Sam, is Jack a part of those?
We try to keep him from it, but he is a part of it.
And how you doing, Jack?
Oh, yeah? He's a grand marshal of this thing, isn't he? For the honorary starter or something? Listening.
Broken side window camera. Did you see the audio? I need that.
At Atlanta Motor Speedway, don't forget the coverage of the IROC race immediately following our coverage of this event. We are under caution because of an accident on the backstretch involving Curtis Markham. As you can see, pit stops are essentially being completed right now, and everybody rolling back out onto the racetrack. Now, what happened? Curtis Markham in the 02 car on the backstretch. Let's take a look. He's running beside Dave Marcus.
Just simply loses control as he exits a corner. He spins around backwards. He nails the gas. He just nails the gas to keep him going up and hitting the wall. But unfortunately, comes down and bam, runs into the inside wall. When he was backing towards the wall, he stood on the gas to get the car away from it. It worked. Unfortunately, there was a wall on the inside.
You know, Benny, I didn't see the roof flaps deploy. Normally, when a car gets sideways, those flaps will come up, but they didn't in that case. Maybe just because he wasn't running fast enough or something. But anyway, the car stayed on the ground, and that is the important thing. So it's our second caution of the afternoon. And we will be back to Atlanta Motor Speedway after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Yeah, let's do. He's sitting back here like the cat that ate the canary.
This is great.
Bernhardt leapfrogged over about 2 or 3 cars.
Okay. What's the copy? I can't remember. I've got too many other things to think about here. What's the Quaker statement?
The wind is in there. Is this a little breakout in the wind?
Yeah, go ahead, Neil. No, I've done it the first time in 6 months. I don't remember.
I'll just say brought to you by Quaker Sting. Okay. welcome you back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, located about 20 miles south of Atlanta, where we are under our second caution of the day because of an accident involving Curtis Markham. Pit stops have occurred, and here's how things went. Ernie Irvan came in first and went out first. Terry Labonte held his position. Jeff Bodine moved from third to fourth. Mark Martin fell from fourth to eighth, and Greg Sachs came in fifth and went out in 10th position.
And Dale Earnhardt, when it was sixth when he came in the pits, came out third.
Well, crews look for every possible way to get their car in and out of the pit area quickly. It's become a very essential part of winning a race. That includes getting the car up and off the jack as quickly as possible. Here's a track fact. And it's brought to you by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
The increasing importance of pit stops has seen quite an evolution in jack technology over the past few years. You know, just a couple of years ago, everyone was using this big heavyweight, this 80-pound all-steel floor jack that is so heavy and requires probably 7 or 8 pumps to get the car off the ground, if that, possibly 9 or 10. And then just a few years ago, George Brunhosel, a NASCAR modified driver, developed a 33-pound all-aluminum jack, which most crews now use. Barry Dotson, crew chief and jackman for the Western Auto team, veteran jackman over the years. Now, I'm told that even this jack has undergone some changes.
Yes, it has, Jerry. Let me show you. This is the type I use. Like you say, the weight's the same. If you look real close, you can see the difference. This is a 3/4 inch valve. This is a 1 inch. This one's a lot easier to use. That's why it has a 36-inch aluminum handle. This has a 44-inch steel handle. Here, let me show you.
Now, I'm told that most of the crews who use this 3/4 inch cylinder takes about 3 pumps to get it off, and 3. So 3 full pumps to get the car off the ground. Now, the 1 inch cylinder and the longer handle, they say requires 1 pump.
1 pump if you do it right. You got to be big, you got to be strong, you got to place it perfect. Go ahead, try it.
It's a lot of pressure. Here we go. All right, big I'm not, strong I'm not, perfect, far from it, but here we go. There it's placed. I get 1 pump, huh? Oh, man. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me?
Nothing to it.
Nothing to it. Where's the ambulance?
Big, strong, and perfect, huh? Perfect description of Dr. Punch. We're back to racing here in Atlanta, and Ernie Irvan continues to hang on to the lead. The car right behind him is Rusty Wallace. Remember, Rusty is a lap down. He is trying to get it back, but has not been able to do so far.
And Todd Bodine's car currently running third in line is also a lap down. We saw him go in the pit area to fix that oil leak, which he did repair, but he's trying to get up there and get a lap back.
Second, as far as the scoring right now, is Dale Earnhardt. There he is on the right side of your screen, the black number 3. So 2 cars separate first and second with 42 laps to go. An update on Rusty Wallace's situation as he closes in on Irvan, trying to get that lap back from Jerry Punch.
Rusty trying to make a move. Let me show you what happened. This is the plexiglass window in the right side of Rusty's car. And what they ordinarily do is cut a small hole in the front of the window and put an air vent in here and run a hose down to his feet to keep his feet cool. It was actually the air duct that broke out of the front of the window and snapped the front of the window off. This last pit stop, they came in and taped over the opening. He's getting a lot more air inside than he wants, but fortunately, he's able to race. Let's go up pit road to Jackaroo.
Jerry, sometimes it's just the little things that can create the problems. For Todd Bodine, when he was forced onto pit road with the black flag, during the caution period, they discovered the culprit. This little oil fitting that goes on top of the valve cover and routes some oil back in, snapped right here. You know what the cost of this fitting is? $4.31. It was brand new for this race, but it didn't go 500 miles.
And possibly for a 30 or 4.31 piece, his share of a over $1 million purse here, the big share of it, disappears, at least for the moment.
See Earnhardt pulling up on the back of Todd Bodine.
Here's a Napa field summary for you. Take a look for your favorite driver as we run down the entire field as they were running just a lap ago. Ken Schrader moves into the top 10. Bill Elliott running back in 17th position. Dale Jarrett in 19th.
Todd Bodine, older brother, Jeff Bodine, is pulled up on his back bumper, but he is closely pursued by Jeff Burton. Terry Labonte.
There you see the cars are at least one lap down, including Rusty and Todd and Sterling Marlin, and the 2 cars that are out of the race at the moment, chuck bound because of an engine problem and a crash involving John Andretti. Here are Jeff and Todd Bodine, along with Jeff Burton in car number 8 and Terry Labonte.
Harry Gant, the number 33 car, making his final race here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, slowed just a moment ago. And I don't know what the problem is, guys. He might be on 7 cylinders. He's back in 35th spot. Jack LaRoute, what is the problem?
He radioed into his crew chief that he felt something go wrong with the motor, so your supposition that they're down to 7 cylinders may be absolutely right. The problem is on pit road, they don't know till they make the next pit stop. They're trying to time him and trying to decipher it from the stopwatch.
There you can see his position on lap 9 was 13th, moved to 14th and 12th, then began to move back, and by lap number 46 had fallen to the last car on the lead lap. Harry Gant in his final season as a competitor. He'll of course be here in the fall for his final NASCAR Winston Cup race, but this is his final spring race here at Atlanta. And Michael Waltrip loses a position in car number 30 to Bobby Labonte.
We'll see Matt Strickland was leading that group. Bill Elliott, Ted Musgrave in the 16 car. That's 22 is Bobby Labonte and Michael Waltrip in the yellow 30.
Hut Strickland leading this group down as Bill Elliott battles alongside Ted Musgrave. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Michael Waltrip. Watch, he's the pits. Oh, something. He had contact with Strickland, it looked like, and something flew off the car.
He sure did. He made some contact, which forced him up in that oil dry. That's what we saw coming up from under his car, was the debris up out of the groove. And there we see Nemechek low on the racetrack. Looks like he's headed for pit road as these guys go by.
Nemechek was up in 16th position, but he now enters the pit area as we watch this side-by-side battle between Bobby Labonte and Bill Elliott.
Oh, Labonte wiggling a little bit. We talked about that wiggle. Pretty good size one there.
Looks like Michael Waltrip's got things under control now. He just had to get out of the throttle so much that he lost a couple positions, but now the car seems to be working fine. Here's Jerry Punch.
They're going to change all 4 tires on the 1992 Busch Series Champions car. Here, Joe Nemechek. He radioed last time by that he had gotten a very bad vibration in his Chevrolet. When you get a vibration at 175 and 80 miles an hour, only one thing you can do, and that is pit and change tires. Let's check in with John Turner.
Jerry, we're in the garage area with Ward Burton, and another tough weekend for Ward. Got a great qualifying run, qualified 8th. You were running in the top 5, and then boom, something happened under the hood.
Yeah, I really don't know what the problem is. We busted one yesterday that had less than 50 miles on it. Busted 2 in Richmond, and now we got this one. Well, I tell you, the Hardy's team has really turned around in the last 2 weeks. So we went to not making races to running in the top 5 here. Guys are just working tremendously hard, and we've got still a long way to go. We keep improving like we're doing and get that motor going, we'll get there.
You know, a lot of people picked Ward to be one of the front runners early in the season, but they're finding the learning curve very tough. Mike Swaim is helping them out, and I'll tell you what, by the second half of the year, this is going to be one of the teams to compete with.
Well, that was their backup engine that let go during the event here today after losing their primary engine yesterday. So Ward Burton is now on the sidelines as Michael Waltrip comes up alongside Bill Elliott. That is Lake Speed in car number 15 watching the action in front of him.
And I know about 50% of the fans here in the stands must be feeling some agony for Bill Elliott, because this is, after all, his home state, and the fans dominated by Georgia.
Bill is running in 19th position at the moment as Waltrip runs in 20th.
We see Jimmy Hensley coming in the mix. He goes by the 22 car of Bobby Labonte. Now Michael's going to try it again because he realizes that Bill is holding him up. He can just get by, but he can't make that pass. He gets down on the inside, and he just can't bury the car in there like he would if Elliott wasn't there. because he certainly doesn't want to spin both of them out.
Michael got a good jump off the second corner and got the nose under the car down the backstretch, but just cannot make the pass work. Now we have Hensley moving up on the inside again. Lake Speed is there right behind Michael, and the 22 car is Bobby Labonte. So a 5-car battle for position here, and once again off the second corner and down the backstretch, Waltrip takes a run at Elliott.
He's going to get frustrated in a minute, just not back off going in the third corner. And this looks like that was the time he did it, as he moves up the racetrack right in front of Elliott.
But look at Lake Speed use the low side of the track to gain some momentum, and he now pulls up alongside Elliott.
From inside Bill Elliott's car as he watches Lake Speed pull alongside and pull direct in front of him. This is going down the back straightaway towards turn 3. There's battle for second place. Earnhardt has it in the black 3. That black and red number 7 is Jeff Bodine, Jeff Burton, and Terry Labonte. 4 cars lock nose to tail for second spot.
Looks like they're going to black flag the Rusty Wallace car once again. The leader of the race is Ernie Irvin, and he is well out in front right now. The 4-car battle is for second position. There's Irvin crossing the stripe, completing lap number 58. And right behind him is Rusty Wallace, who has yet to make up his lap and apparently is going to get black flagged again by NASCAR. Back in a moment.
The NASCAR rules require them to have a window in the right side of the car. The window I showed you doesn't fit, so they have to come down and they're going to cut a patch and try to pop ribbon a patch over the hole. Basically, his day is over. Rusty just shaking his head in disgust.
Mark Martin just blew up down the front straightaway.
We'll look forward to the IndyCar race next Sunday here on ABC. Our good buddy Paul Page will be leaving soon after this race to fly to Australia. We wish we could go with him, but that's the way it goes. Ernie Irvin continues to lead this event. Rusty Wallace has heeded the black flag and come in once again. And here is what happened just moments ago as the crew came in to go to work on the right side of the car.
Well, the rule says they've got that window on that right side, and evidently there was a hole there or something, and NASCAR made them come in and, what, they putting something over it, Jerry? Is that what they're doing?
Maybe actually what they did is they cut a patch in the right side window and covered the hole. Remember, the reason NASCAR put the windows in the right side of the car was to keep air from getting in the car in the event of a spin, to try to keep the car from lifting off the ground. So they had to have that right side window completely sealed. Tape would not suffice. NASCAR black flagging, they came in. The plexiglass window I showed you would not fit, so they had to cut a patch and pop rivet it on the right side of the car.
Rusty Wallace's finishes this year, 41st after an accident at Daytona. He was the winner the next race, and he finished second in the most recent event. So a tough break for Rusty Wallace, who had moved up to 8th in the point standings, and he is now currently 4 laps down. And here is a battle between Dale Earnhardt at number 3 and Jeff Burton at car number 8. And here's the interval leaderboard. You can see that Irvin has almost a 2-second lead on Bodine, and Earnhardt and Burton are scrapping for that 3rd position, and then Terry Labonte is almost 4 seconds back in 5th position. Jeff Burton driving an outstanding race here today, Benny, as a rookie.
He is driving outstanding, trying to get by Earnhardt for that 3rd spot. Mark Martin was trying to take over the spot from Greg Sachs just a moment ago, I think, about 5th spot, and he slowed down the front straightaway and pulled behind those 3 cars. We see him right at the end of that. I don't know what happened to 6th car. I don't know why he did that.
And now Jeff Burton gets almost a full car length ahead of Earnhardt, but Burton battles back. This is a great battle for 3rd position.
Earnhardt's running up on the top of the racetrack, trying to find some green track to get a bite. And Jeff Burton, his car working great on the bottom of the racetrack.
And Jack Arute has more on this run by Jeff Burton.
Well, Bob, consider this fact. At the start of the race, Jeff Burton's radios malfunctioned. Not back and forth to his pit crew, but more importantly, to the spotters that are way on top of the tower here to help him figure out where race traffic is and how best to run the racetrack and stay out of trouble. They just reported back that so far, they haven't been able to solve the problem with the radios, so they say they're only working half as good as they should. Jerry Punch, let's check in with you.
Well, Benny Parsons mentioned a moment ago that Mark Martin started to make a pass and then abruptly slowed and pulled back in line. What happened was Mark's car got very, very loose, and at 180 miles an hour, you don't want to drive them sideways here but once. Steve Nielsen, Mark, back off of it. Just try to live with it. We'll get a caution flag and fix it here very soon. Back upstairs.
And look how quickly Jeff Bodine has caught the leader of the race, Ernie Irvin, and passed him for the lead. He was 100 yards behind just a lap ago, closed up and passed and took the lead.
Yeah, just a couple of laps ago was 1.6 seconds, but now Bodine has taken over the lead from Ernie Irvin. And you have to mention tires here, because the history of the Hoosier tires have been they run well in qualifying, but they go away after a few laps in the race. We are not seeing that here today.
We're seeing just the opposite of that today. John Kernan?
Well, Benny, in talking with the Hoosier engineers, this is the first race this year that they've actually gotten 3 full tire tests in before they went into the construction process of the tire. The other tires that they had brought out were just hurriedly put together, for lack of a better term. They felt better prepared coming here at Atlanta.
They are working well here in the first 70 laps of this event. And now Dale Earnhardt loses 2 positions as Jeff Burton has gotten around him, and so is Greg Sachs in 77. The 41 car of Joe Nemechek. Remember, he made a pit stop under green a few laps ago, lost 2 laps, and is not on the lead lap. In fact, he is 2 laps down. So it looks like, Benny, that Earnhardt's car is going away a little bit.
Yes, it is. He's going very high on the racetrack. He has lost the handle, and the best thing he can do right now is ride, wait for the next pit stop, try to adjust. Hopefully there'll be a caution flag where he can adjust leisurely and not a green flag stop where they have to really hustle and not be able to make the changes that they'd like to make.
That car is way up high in the corners. In fact, the right side tires are almost up in the light gray area, which is out of the groove and can be very, very slick.
I'll tell you what, the way Earnhardt's going, at the end of 328 laps today, there'll be very little gray area. He's going to keep moving up the racetrack.
257 laps to go in this event. As you can see in the upper right of your screen, there is first and second, Jeff Bodine and Ernie Irvin, and the average speed of this event is 133.690, and the race record is 156.8. We've had 2 caution flags. And some smoke coming from Jeff Bodine's car, Benny, and he pulls out of it.
He slows. He's headed for pit road, and he looks like an engine problem maybe. As he goes down pit road, the crew is waiting on him. Man, oh man, what a tough break for Jeff Bodine.
coming in for the stop with some smoke at the rear of the car. And let's see, it happened as he was going into turn 3.
He goes in the corner on the outside. Yeah, we see just a little bit of smoke out of the car. They have raised the hood on the car while he's sitting on pit road, the 90 car. And Jerry Punch is there. Jerry, what's the problem?
Well, they are not very happy here in the Jeff Bodine pits. Danny Glad, who is standing in the left front of the car, is the chief engine builder. He raised the hood, started to get in a hurry, and then suddenly calmed down, which is not a good sign. He's looking in the left side of the engine compartment. Jeff Bodine sitting very quietly, and now suddenly water begins to pour out of the left side exhaust. Jeff Bodine is through for the day.
Jeff Bodine sits hopelessly and helplessly in the pit area, and they're going to push the car behind the wall and call it a day. Jeff Bodine, who started outside of the front row, drops out of competition here this afternoon. There now is the leader all by himself. That is Ernie Irvin leading over Jeff Burton, Craig Sachs, Dale Earnhardt, and Mark Martin at Atlanta Motor Speedway and the Purolator 500. Thank you. Thank you. I just didn't.
That 6 car is absolutely.
Yeah. Disregard everything but Chevy. You got it.
Papers there in front of you, Benny. What's the name of that crew I said? The T-Birds? The Fabulous T-Birds.
The Fabulous T-Birds.
Where is that?
Yes, identify yourself as Bob Jenkins.
We're back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Purolator 579 laps into the record book. Assisting ABC Sports with aerial coverage of today's Purolator 500 are the fine folks from Chevrolet. This is Paul Page. We are under green once again. Tonight, ABC begins with America's Funniest Hour. Then someone's cloned a brand new Superman on an all-new Lois and Clark. And Tom Selleck stars in the network premiere of An Innocent Man on the Sunday night movie. That's all tonight here on ABC. Well, the sun has come out over Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Benny Parsons, is that going to change the way these tires work?
It's going to change the way the chassis work. That's for sure, Paul, because when it was overcast, the racetrack was real tight. The cars were very tight. As the sun comes out, they get looser and looser. In other words, they try to spin out more.
Dr. Jerry Punch is with Richard Childress.
Dale Earnhardt's car owner standing with me. We mentioned Dale's been having a little bit of a problem handling the car. Richard, what's the problem with the car?
Well, right now the tape is blowing up on the grill. Got us pushing just a little bit, but it seems like the Hoosier tires are coming on a little better right now, around 35, 40 laps. So we just got to do some adjustments.
Now the sun's coming out. How will that affect your race car? Getting a little warmer here.
Well, you know, it won't be as good for us because I think right now we're already skating more than we want to be.
Well, Earnhardt's just having to battle a very, very difficult race car. Let's check in with John Kernan, who's standing by with the fellow who was leading the race. John?
Jerry, just a heartbreaking development for Jeff Bodine. Jeff, you were leading the race, and then all of a sudden you just dropped off the pace. Was there any indication that the temperature go up?
Yeah, the temperature had gone up when I was following Earnhardt. Kind of backed off, but we still passed him and caught Ernie. Really running easy, but it looks like we burned a piston. That's cracked a block or cylinder head. We don't know what, but we're going to try to fix it, get out and get some points. But, you know, the one thing we proved today was Hoosier tires are finally here in Winston Cup racing. You know, I was just riding out there. They're really good. Seemed like the longer we went, the better they got, the slower the other guys got. So, you know, it's a shame for our sponsors, Exide Batteries and Montgomery Ward and that, but this could have been our race. You know, we could have won this one pretty easy, but you got to finish. Hi, Barry, back home, Matt, everybody. We'll be home tomorrow.
Jeff Bodine still with a smile on his face. He'll be back at Darlington. Let's go back to pit road and Jackaroo.
John, well, maybe Bodine had some bad luck, but Jeff Burton's got nothing but good luck. During the last pit stop, you know what this is? It's a catch can for the overflow from the gas. Well, they got so excited during their pit stop, they left it in. They thought they were going to have to come back in and take it out, but as he went back out on the racetrack, it fell off before they got back out at the full speed. So they dodged a bullet that time. Lady Luck riding with Jeff Burton right now.
And Jeff Burton is running a very strong second to Ernie Irvan, although Greg Sachs in the 77 car is closing in on Burton.
When you talk about a strong second, look, there's the leader, Ernie Irvan. There is Jeff Burton. He has caught him, Bob.
Jeff Burton has never led a lap in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. He started in 13th position, currently running in second. That's his highest standing, and his lowest has been 22nd.
But that maybe will hang together for a lap or two. He's going to lead him a lap in Winston Cup competition.
He is driving, of course, for the Stavola brothers, and the last time a Stavola brothers car won was Bobby Allison in 1988 at the Daytona 500, and he's done it.
He did it. He took the lead, so he's in the record book. Just beside herself down there in the pit area.
There were 8 cars that began this race on Hoosier tires. Jeff was one of them. He is now in first position, and Greg Sachs, who is running third, is also on the Hoosiers.
Now then, if this thing goes green, I was talking to Kenny Wilson, the team manager for Jeff Burton this morning, and he has nicknamed his crew the Fabulous T-Birds. We're going to have to find out if they're fabulous or not, because the 28 crew does a great job. Can the 8 crew keep up? We'll see if we get some green flag stops.
Once again, Sterling Marlin is losing a lap in the car number 4. We have a sequence of pit stops that are coming up here, and so we want to get to a commercial break so we can show those to you. So we'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Tell you what, those boys doing a great job in that 8 car.
I'm telling you, he sure is. DW, yeah, we can talk about him. 13. Here's the battle for second. Almost in the way, isn't he?
Kyle Petty's slow going in 3. Well, Martin's coming down pit road. They have started.
Yep. Purolator 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway is 94 laps old, and already we are seeing some pit stops. There is the leader of the race, Jeff Burton, driving car number 8. We have seen numerous pit stops, and here is Ernie Irvan, who was running in the lead, then fell back to second and fell back to third. Now comes in for his pit stop. And let's go to Jack Arute for the call.
The driver from Modesto, California hits the marks exactly. The crew goes to work, and it will be 4 tires all the way around. Taking on a full load of fuel. They've completed the work on the right side. Now they're going to the left side. They've made the exchange. They'll be adding the lug nuts. Let's check in with Jerry Punch.
6-time Winston Cup champion will also get a 4-tire stop, Jack. They have already got the right side tires on. Here's David Smith scrambling around with the jack. Left side of the car, they cleaned the windshield, topped it off in fuel. Chocolate Myers hoist that big 11-gallon can back up. Pull the jack. Earnhardt is down and away. Less than 17.5 seconds from 4 tires. He heads back to turn 1.
There's Ken Schrader, who's on pit road. He had moved up to 4th position before coming in. Lake Speed also in for his pit stop. Earlier, Mark Martin came in. So did Ricky Rudd, Kyle Petty,
Terry Labonte,
and Michael Waltrip. Now we're seeing lots of cars on pit road, in addition to Ken Schrader, who has his work completed. Here's Jerry Punch as Greg Sachs comes in.
And the U.S. Air crew getting set to work on the Greg Sachs machine, the Ford Thunderbird. We would expect to see 4 tires. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Right side tires going on. Sachs' windshield totally saturated with oil or some sort of liquid. They are scrubbing the windshield in front of him, so we can see. Also cleaning a lot of rubber in the grill. Remember, Jeff Bodine commented on rubber in his grill. They're working on the 77 car. Let's check in with Jack Arute.
Jeff Burton has brought his car to a stop. There was almost a big miscue when they went to clean the windshield. They had the carburetor cleaner instead of the windshield cleaner, but they solved that. They too are going for 4 tires. Burton resting very casually inside the car, and they are about to complete their test, taking on 22 gallons of fuel. The jack is away in 19.4 seconds. Jerry Punch.
Unbelievable. Greg Sachs started to leave the pit area, got about 20 feet away, jammed on the brakes, and suddenly the left front tire and wheel came completely off the U.S. Air Ford Thunderbird. They have now put a tire and wheel back on. But take a look at the damage. The left front fender has been peeled away. Sheet metal heavily damaged. What a tough break for the DK Ulrich team after coming in as the leader here in Atlanta.
You've heard it said so many times, but the car can be performing so well on the racetrack, but when things go wrong in the pit area, it can eliminate you from any threat of winning.
And here we watch as he starts down pit road. He starts to back up, and the wheel flies off. There was no lug nuts on there. He backs up on 3 tires to his pit area, and they put the left front back on. Jack Arute.
Benny, it's just like we said at the top of the show. The pressure on these pit crews is very, very intense. They want to make a 14-second stop instead of a 16-second stop. Sometimes you're lucky. That was the case for Michael Waltrip. Waltrip got his service in his normal pit, pulled up pit road right in front of Terry Labonte's car, in front of Labonte's pit. He felt a vibration. He stopped. One of Labonte's crew members came down, took a lug wrench, and tightened 3 lugs on the left rear.
The defending champion is also in for a pit stop. He has his work completed. That's Morgan Shepherd in car number 21. You remember he won the race last year, stretching the mileage to 69 laps.
As he watches his in-car, as he leaves pit road, goes back on the racetrack. He's on the apron, and then we saw those cars just fly by as Morgan builds up speed. He dumps into high gear about right now. He goes into fourth as Rudd goes by. And now he's almost as fast now, not quite now, as he goes in the third corner. As these cars back off, he will be up to speed comparable to the other cars.
And with Shepherd's pit stop, all of those now running on the lead lap have come in for a scheduled pit stop.
Look at the vibration on this camera.
Yep.
Is that the car or is the camera broken loose?
It's hard to say, but it looks like it could be the car. Anyway, this is the battle for third position. Earnhardt in 3 and Martin in number 6.
Watch.
I don't know. It could be the camera platform that's vibrating.
Could be. Because in the corner, the car is very stable. Let's watch the telemetry and see how fast he's going with the new tires. Accelerating down the front straightaway. 183, 6, 187.
And then a brief touch of the brake. And then right back on the gas as the RPMs stabilize. Now climb to 78, 7,900, 8,000 RPM, 82. And again a break.
As we watch all this, after all the pit stops, Ernie Irvan has ended up with the lead out of the pit stops. He goes by Derek Cope's Fingerhut car, pulls right in front of him.
And Derek Cope is running in 18th position, and there's fluid on the front of that car, at least on our camera lens.
There's more. I don't know.
Anyway, Cope was running in 18th, is running in 18th position, and so now 17 cars are on the lead lap. Let's look at the telemetry. Doesn't appear to be.
Certainly isn't working as good as Mark Martin's telemetry.
Yeah, at a speed of 184 at the end of the backstretch, which is about the same as we saw Mark Martin earlier.
He gets down to 154 miles an hour. And that's about where John Andretti crashed. So it looked like he was running 50. In fact, I bet he was running 100 miles an hour when he backed in the wall early on the first or second lap of the race.
Irvan has led 73 of the 103 laps that have been run so far. Here's the most recent pit summary. Jeff Burton was the leader, but he came out in second position. Sachs, of course, lost greatly because of the problem with the left front of the car. Came in second and out 24th. Ernie Irvan moved up 2 spots. Dale Earnhardt moved up 1, and Terry Labonte stayed the same in 5th position. And now Mark Martin again challenging Earnhardt for 3rd spot.
And Martin just can't drive that car down in the corner with Earnhardt on the outside of him. Doesn't have enough downforce on the car to keep the car glued to the racetrack.
Jeff Burton is running in second with Irvan the leader, and these 2 cars, Earnhardt and Martin, in 3rd and 4th.
You know what, those fabulous T-Birds did a pretty good job for Jeff Burton when he made his pit stop. What was it, 18.4?
Very good pit stop for Jeff.
Cameron must be nervous. Okay, Cameron is nervous.
Burton is a little less than a second behind Ernie Irvan, and Earnhardt and Martin are a little over 11 seconds behind. I would think that if the car was vibrating, that Mark would not be able to hold it in line the way he is.
I think that he would be certainly running a lot slower than he is right now. Earnhardt's still running very, very high on the racetrack. Mark can run low on the racetrack. He just can't get in the corner with Earnhardt on the outside of him.
Loy Allen was our pole sitter. He finds himself running 31st position, 3 laps down, and Jerry Punch has a story.
Bob, let me show you what happens when you hit a piece of debris on the racetrack at 180 miles per hour. This is no reflection on Hoosier or Goodyear. This is what happens to a racing tire. This is the left rear tire off our pole sitter's car. going down the back straightaway at roughly 185. He hit a piece of debris. He saw it coming. He felt the tire go down. It literally sawed the inside of the tire away, as if you'd taken a scalpel and surgically removed part of the tire. Now, the inner liner stayed up, and this rookie driver at 180 miles an hour managed to control the race car and bring it down pit road without an incident. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, Harry Gant is on his farewell tour. This is his next to last appearance here in Atlanta. He pulled it into the garage. I went up and said, Harry, what's wrong with the car? Did you blow the engine? No, we didn't blow it. The car just would not run. We didn't want to cause a problem for the other teams out there. So the crew of Leo Jackson are going to work on the car. They're changing springs, shocks, some sway bars. They're actually going to use the rest of this race when they get the car back out there as a sort of a test session. So when they come back here in the fall, Harry will be prepared to finish his career in style.
While many drivers go out with a flourish, and we certainly do not want to criticize those that have, but Harry's just kind of doing his own thing again this year, and will just drift away next year. Well, he certainly will miss it.
He's having a farewell tour. He's making a few odds and ends, collectibles for people, but he's certainly not making the splash that Richard Petty did last year.
110 laps into this event, and Ernie Irvan continues to lead the Purolator 500, followed by Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, and Morgan Shepherd. What promo?
That one Page has got his hand.
Oh, we got Ned on the line. Hi, Ned. It's on its way, Ned. Hang in there, bud.
Yeah, he's running pretty
Dale's
good.
update. Okay. Yep.
He's got a signature right now. He's got a signature for him.
Haviland Ford of Ernie Irvan continues to lead the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is the best battle on the racetrack, involving the 3-car of Earnhardt and the 6 of Mark Martin as they continue to fight for that 3rd position. And they're going around the 77-car of Greg Saxon that's falling a lap down.
No, Greg Saxon's going around them and driving away as he makes a lap back, and Mark finally gets by Earnhardt.
77-car of Greg Sax is 23rd a lap down. Well, coming up next here on ABC Sports, it's on to the high banks of Daytona as 12 of the world's top drivers go head-to-head in the ultimate test of skill. It's the first challenge in the International Race of Champions, all next here on ABC Sports.
And some people said it was the best IROC race they've ever seen. I said that last year.
You will not want to miss it. Let's put it that way. Coming up next here on ABC. We have 14 cars that are still on the lead lap of this event. At lap 116, the Napa Field summary will show you where all drivers are running at this particular time. Morgan Shepherd, last year's winner, has moved to the top 5, while Dale Jarrett has moved into 8th position. The 14th position is held by Kyle Petty, the last car on the lead lap. All these cars have fallen a lap off the pace.
Well, Greg Sachs is having some problems. He pulled over. Something has happened to the U.S. Air Ford. And that's the brand new team I was talking about at the top of the show. DK Ulrich has put together this brand new team with Greg Sachs as his driver.
Sterling Marlin is 6 laps off the pace in 35th position.
You see Jeff Burton has caught the 28 car of Ernie Irvin.
Battle for the lead here. The number 9 car, Rich Bickle, is in the garage here, and we believe out of the race. And look at Jeff Burton drive under Irvin and get the lead again.
Man, that car is absolutely flying today.
Jeff Burton goes back into the lead. He's the only rookie with a top 10 finish this year and is leading the rookie point standings. But if he continues at this pace, he could be a rookie winner here in NASCAR Winston Cup competition.
Ernie's just trying to keep as close as he can. I think Ernie's going to let his pit crew try to win the race for him today.
Recounting his progress in the last several laps, on lap 66, Jeff Burton was 4th, moved to 2nd, got the lead, fell back to 2nd, and now with 117 laps completed, Jeff Burton is back on top.
Looking down on this battle from the helicopter high above. Either Ernie got faster or Jeff slowed down. I would guess that Jeff Burton slowed down once he got the lead. There's not really any reason to run as fast as he can right now.
Average speed of the race is 134.153. Harry Gann is on pit road while we continue to watch the battle on the racetrack. And he's pulling back out onto the racetrack. And Brett Bodine may be having problems in the quicker state car, number 26. He just fell off the pace by 1 lap, being shown in 15th position at the moment. Team owned by drag racer Kenny Bernstein.
But we see that he's going extremely slow because you'll see other cars go blowing by him in just a moment as Michael Walter goes by. There we see Darrell Walter. ODW started 40th. He was the slowest qualifier, and he's up to 11th spot right now.
Good run for him. As we told you earlier, this was his 600th NASCAR Winston Cup start. He is 2nd among active drivers and 7th on the all-time list. John Kernan.
Well, Bob, you talked about how Darrell was the slowest qualifier earlier on in the race. He was running in last position because the car was so very, very loose. Well, their first pit stop on lap 35, Barry Dotson and the crew took a little bit of extra time. They put 2 rounds of bite in the car to tighten it up. They also put a half of rubber in the left rear and 2 pounds of air pressure in the left rear to really tighten the car up. And right now, they feel they've got a pretty good shot. Because, you know, if this comes down to a fuel mileage race, Old DW and Barry Dotson know how to squeeze every ounce of gasoline out of their fuel cells.
And now Darrell Waltrip takes the high line through the 3rd and 4th corners and is trying to get around Jeff Gordon, who is right ahead of him in the number 24 car. He won, of course, the Busch Clash at Daytona in February. And this is a battle for position. It is the battle for 10th position, as a matter of fact, as Jeff Gordon and Darrell Waltrip hammer it out. 55 car of Jimmy Hensley is not on the same lap. He's back in 25th spot.
As we look at Jeff Gordon, this is the same car that Jeff used during the run of the Busch Clash in Daytona this year. He and Ray Abraham, the crew chief, decided they'd take a gamble that the aerodynamic advantage they would have to make up down the straightaway, that would be a good car to bring to Atlanta. They told me this morning, biggest mistake they've ever made. They almost need brake scoops to cool the brakes when he gets to the corner. He has to slam on the brakes to slow the car down. As we see Jeff Purvis go extremely high on the racetrack, looks like he's got a problem.
Yeah, well, or either that or he just wanted to get out of the way of the faster cars, but he did get out of the groove without question. And Jerry Punch has another update on pit road.
We mentioned a moment ago that Brett Bodine was beginning to slow in the car number 26 as Waltrip now makes a move past Gordon. But troubles continue to plague the Kenny Bernstein team. Apparently they developed a vibration about 5 laps ago and thought a tire change would fix it, but apparently that's not the case. They think they may be having a problem with either the drive shaft or the rear end. They're planning on bringing Brett on pit road, probably behind the wall, to possibly change the drive shaft. What a tough break for Brett Bodine. Let's check in with Jack LaRue.
Jerry, remember about 10 years ago when we raced with the bias ply tires? This area behind us with these spare tires would be just full of activity, measuring the stagger, the circumference. A lot of times, too, you see this mark right here, this is the serial number. In the old days, you were able to decipher what mold the tire came out of, who built the tire, what day the tire was built, and you would use that information. Now, all you have to worry about is how much tire pressure you've got, because you can't really stretch them or make stagger. And you know what the folks with the tire companies have done? Benny Parsons, you know, they've scrambled the code, and so far, nobody's been able to decipher it.
You're exactly right, Jack. We see Dave Marcus go down in turn one. Heavy smoke from his car. Looks like he's had a terminal problem in his engine department, as we see the 41 car of Nemechek come into pits, and his car's smoking badly. Will Marcus make it back or bring out the caution flag?
And here we see Morgan Shepherd has moved around Dale Earnhardt, and now Greg Sachs, who again, remember, is not on the lead lap. He had a problem during the pit stop and damaged the left front of his tire when the tire came off.
You know, Sachs acts like he's running on 7-cylinder and going that well through the turns that he's able to keep up with these other cars.
The car was working so well for him until he had the problem. Looking back on the activity from Morgan Shepherd's car. Sterling Marlin is also there in car number 4. He's in 35th position, 6 laps off the pace. For the Sterling Marlin, Morgan McClure team.
Sure isn't. Earnhardt still extremely high on the racetrack. Morgan Shepherd turns to running 4th spot. Started 14th. He got up to, let's see, just steadily has moved forward. Now he's up 4th spot.
Morgan Shepherd always runs well at this racetrack, it seems. And the defending champion. Let's get more on the 77 car from Jerry.
Answer your question, Benny, is Greg Sachs is not on 7 cylinders. A problem with that left front fender is it's catching air in the corners and causing the front of the car to be pushed down and the rear of the car to lift. That's causing the car to be loose, and Greg just can't drive it. Aerodynamics so important at high speeds. You have to wait for a caution flag and try to bend some of that left front sheet metal back in and hopefully minimize the downforce on the front of the car.
Thank you very much, Dr. Punch.
Greg Sachs started in 10th position, currently is 21st. He was in the 2nd, and his lowest position has been 24th, and he has not been among the 5 leaders that we have had in the first 131 laps of this race.
There's Hutch Strickland and Smoking Joe's car right behind the 77 car of Greg Sachs.
He is running in 21st position.
Uh-oh,
Earnhardt has a lead again.
Can you imagine that? Burt went up past Ernie Irvin the last time and seemed like he was going to drive away. This time, not able to stay in front. Irvin has caught him.
That's our 9th lead change of the afternoon. Ernie Irvin won an ARCA race here at Atlanta back in 1989. He has never won a NASCAR Winston Cup race at this facility. His best finish has been 2nd on 2 different occasions. Irvin has the lead again. Here's how he got it.
Going down in turn 1. Burton goes in the corner, and Irvin just sticks the car right on the bottom of the racetrack and powers up beside of the 8 car and drives away. Now, that baby is working when you can do that.
Working in terms of horsepower and working in terms of handling. Ernie Irvin leads. Jeff Burton now. Mark Martin running in 3rd position. Morgan Shepherd is 4th, and Dale Earnhardt 5th in the Purolator 500 live here on ABC. We'll be right back. Okay. they're getting pretty close to the end of the segment.
You know that?
Third place car? Man. He's almost 3/4 of a lap behind. Morgan might be picking it up. Can we clock the 21 car versus the leader?
Hey, Benny. I talked to Eddie Wood this morning. He said we got the same springs we had on the car we won with last March. We've got the same shocks we had on and ran so well in the fall before we blew up. And above all, we have the same fuel cell that we had when we won it last year. Remember, they went 69 laps to win the race.
Above the Atlanta Motor Speedway, our aerial shots today being provided by Chevrolet, and we pan down and show you the racetrack where the Purolator 500 is 138 laps old. Dale Earnhardt is in the pits. Here's Jerry.
Remember when Earnhardt pitted before, he had a problem with the car pushing. When they came in, made a 4-tire change, and now the car has been very, very loose. They come in, they've already changed right side tires, now changed the left side tires. They've made a chassis adjustment in the left rear of the car. He is down and away, and they are trying to fight an ill-handling Chevrolet.
Dale Earnhardt trying to win his 7th NASCAR Winston Cup championship this year to tie Richard Petty. Currently is second in the point standings, 59, behind the leader, Ernie Irvan.
There's our leader, Ernie Irvan.
And here's Napa Field summary showing you that Irvan has a lead over Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, Morgan Shepherd, and Dale Jarrett in the top 5.
There's Ted Musgrave. Great run for Musgrave up in 6th. Ricky Rudd. Darrell Waltrip has marched up to the 8th spot now on the Bonnie and Lake Speed.
It is for the most part a 2-car race because there is quite a separation between Jeff Burton running in 2nd position and Mark Martin, who is back in 3rd. And here comes Darrell Waltrip to the low side of Strickland.
See Strickland there a lap down. Now he's a lap down 2. He's 17 car Darrell Waltrip. Jeff Purvis back in 28, the country time car.
Darrell Waltrip closing in quickly on the 18 car. That would be for 5th position. Waltrip, by the way, has the most top 10s of any active driver here in Atlanta with 27 top 10s in 43 Atlanta starts. The pole sitter at Richmond was the number 16 car of Ted Musgrave, and now here is that battle for 5th spot as Waltrip comes up alongside Dale Jarrett.
And there we see the 16 car alongside the 23 car, and Waltrip makes the pass, and the 16 car makes the pass. There's Darrell right in front, and we see him in front of Dale Jarrett's Interstate Battery Chevrolet. By the way, talked to Coach Gibbs in Charlotte this week. He broke ground on his brand new 35,000 square foot shop. Wow. In Charlotte. He is moving to Charlotte, North Carolina from Washington, D.C. He really wants to go racing in the big way. I say Coach Gibbs. He's not a coach anymore. He wants to make that perfectly clear.
Yes, but we'll always think of him as Coach Gibbs. Swing forward and show you the 4th place car driven by Morgan Shepherd.
I'll tell you what, Morgan might be as quick as anyone on the Speedway right now, even the leader, Ernie Irvan. What do you think, Jack Root? Is he as fast as the leader?
Well, Benny, according to the clocks that Lenny Wood is clocking and with down on pit road, he is. And I asked Lenny, what sort of changes and adjustments did you make from the start of the race to now? He said, we looked at all 4 tires. We changed tire pressure by 1 pound, going down on only 2 tires. When I asked him which tires they were, he said, can't tell you that.
Some things will remain unsaid.
Ernie Irvan is in traffic trying to get by Lake Speed, and as he gets by Speed, Burton pulls up on the his back bumper, but luckily Lake Speed moved over, let those guys go. Lake Speed is currently in 10th spot.
Right.
he's a lap down, so he only got 9 cars now in the lead lap.
Let's find out what happened to Brett Bodine as we go down to Jerry Punch.
After back-to-back top 10 finishes at Rockingham and Richmond, they still have the car behind the wall in the jack stands. And Brett, a tough day for you. What happened?
Jerry, after the first yellow flag, the car developed a real bad vibration, and it just continually got worse and worse. Acted like, maybe the ratchet differential, the rear end was acting up. The car was just undrivable. I mean, if it would run smooth, it was okay, but it would come and go, the vibration real bad, and I nearly wrecked the car twice, and we just decided we better just come in and change it and see if we can fix it. Since it being a bunch of laps down and wreck the car, let's just try to fix it and see if we can fix the problem.
Well, they have put a new rear end in the car as well as a drive shaft, and the man who currently sits 12th in the point standings is behind the wall and losing a lot of valuable time.
And after those 2 top 10 finishes that Jerry mentioned, Brett Bodine had moved up to 12th in the point standings, but is not having a good day here at Atlanta. There are your top 2 cars, Ernie Irvan on the left and Jeff Burton on the right.
Well, those fabulous T-Birds will have to make another pit stop equal to the 28 crew.
And we will have pit stops coming up before too long. There is Mark Martin, the 3rd place car, and we anticipate him being one of the first to come in. By the way,
as a matter of fact, it's right now. He's slowing. He's heading for pit road.
Only 7 cars are on the lead lap as Jeff Gordon has gone a lap down, and so has Blake Speed. On pit road, Mark Martin relinquishes his 3rd position here on the 147th circuit. Come in for a scheduled pit stop. Jerry Punch.
And the sequence continues, Bob, as Mark is the first among the top 5 cars to make a pit stop. As we approach the lap 149 mark, we would expect to see what is considered routine here in NASCAR. They will clean the windshield from debris, change all 4 tires, top it off with gasoline, and Mark sits very patiently in the car. Now, Mark takes the car out of gear when they change the right side tires to give his right foot a little bit of a rest. Now the left side goes up, he puts it back in first gear, and as they drop that jack, he will pop the clutch, as he does right there, and pull away in 20 seconds even.
Accelerates first gear, second gear. Now he can't use all the throttle because there's debris on the racetrack. Things have rolled down from the bank on the racetrack. He has to go through that. Now when he pulls up on that white line, he's able to go wide open, shift to 4th gear, and try to accelerate up to top speed. Steve Mills got some kind of problem. He tells his crew about it. Throws the wrench down.
It was a 20-second pit stop. Nothing to be ashamed of, but obviously Steve Mills was not pleased with the way things went.
17 seconds. That's what people are doing 4-tire stops. And
you never thought you'd see the day when 20 seconds was a bad pit stop, but we're almost to that point now when they're turning 17.
There he goes by. And the leaders have not changed a great deal. It's still about 2 or 3 car lengths between the 28 of Ernie Irvan, the 8 car, the bestest car of Jeff Burton. And we're being told it's 2 laps until Ernie Irvan makes his pit stop. Boy, Ernie's car is so fast. Ooh, see him wiggle when he went on the outside of Jeff Burton. Hut Strickland. Probably touched the brakes just a little bit as he went down in that corner.
Strickland goes another lap down. He's in 13th position, 2 laps down. And Jeff Gordon, who just lost a lap, now comes in. Jeff running in the top 10. Crew going to work on the right side of the DuPont Chevrolet. Work completed there. Now switching to the driver's side as the clock continues to click. 17. Gas is still going in. Tires are on. Gas is in just a little quicker than Mark Martin's at 19.7 seconds for Jeff Gordon.
He had to wait for the fuel. He had to wait for the gas man to get the car full.
Ernie Irvan had just a tremendous pit stop at Richmond that contributed to his win. Let's see what happens as both first and second, Irvan and Burton come in together.
That Burton is really putting some pressure on his pit crew right now because they're going to come in nose to tail. How are they going out?
55 miles an hour is the speed limit on pit road. They must stay under that as we bring you both pit stops from our split screen. Irvan is on the top and Burton is on the bottom.
Burton stops.
Work on Burton's car first. For timing Ernie Irvan's pit stop. Let's go to Jackaroo.
Well, it's a routine stop for Ernie Irvan. Likewise, look at the 8 car in the bottom of the screen. they moved to the right side. They completed their work, and then the left side tires for Burton. 28 is down and out as well in 18.2 seconds for Ernie Irvin. And gentlemen, the thing that's most important is what Irvin did in that last series of green flag running is he measured Burton. He reported back to his crew that the Hoosier tires on Burton's car seem to come in the last maybe 15 or 20 laps before they have to pit. These guys, Irvin's crew, hope that they go green the rest of the way.
Morgan Shepherd comes in for his routine pit stop. He gives up third position.
He was the leader, as a matter of fact, because the 28 and the 8 had stopped. He comes in. Jackaroo is there.
And now Morgan Shepherd's Leonard Woodland team goes to work. They've gone to the right side. They're going to go 4 tires all the way around. That's normal nowadays. They've completed the work. And the car 28 is coming back in for a problem on Ernie Irvin's car. Watching Morgan Shepherd, he's completing his work. And now they're going to add more fuel, and they had to adjust on the lugs on the left rear on Ernie Irvin. In a quest to be quick, they didn't get the job done on the left side for the Texaco team.
Very good point. It could have been that they just wanted to get their work completed so quickly that they had to come in for a second time, and that could be a very, very costly situation for Ernie Irvin. And look who's leading this race from 40th starting position. The slowest qualifier, Darrell Waltrip, is up front.
There we see Steve Grissom right behind him. 29 car, rookie this year. I will tell you that Ernie Irvin did not get lapped when he had to come back, and Jeff Burton did not lap Ernie Irvin, and that's the best news the 28 crew has.
They fall back to 8th position. However, he did not lose a lap. Darrell Waltrip will be in soon.
Right now, he's coming in.
Nope.
What happened?
About 4 more laps, we understand. The crew reports to us that they were thinking about bringing him in 10 laps, but now they're going to bring him in
4 laps.
3 or 4, yeah.
He just can't stay on the racetrack and let those cars out there with the fresher tires run that faster speed. And he's slowing. He looked like he was doing the same thing the last time, like he was doing the pit stop. John Kerner, what's Walter's problem?
Well, Benny, you said it. Once the other cars get the new tires, they pick up so much more. They pick up a half second, so almost 7/10 of a second a lap with the new tires. Darrell cannot afford to give that up. Now, fuel mileage is no problem. Barry Dodson just told me they could go to lap 170. He also says the car is perfect. We told you about the major adjustments they made early on in the race. Now it's a matter of speed in the pits. They've been working on this. Right side tires already on. The jack swings around to the left side. Second can of gasoline going in, making sure they clean the windshield. Barry Dodson's watching. Left side light that's going on. No mistakes here. Darrell Waltrip is down and away at 19.6 seconds.
Darrell Waltrip goes back in competition.
Yeah, we'll get.
He, of course, has been one of our 6 leaders, and the last time he led a race was here in Atlanta in '93. He had not led a lap in '94 until just a few moments ago. And there is the leader of the race, Dale Jarrett.
Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
He has not made a pit stop, though, right?
Not yet.
Okay. So he is due one soon.
The only car still on the lead lap that has not made a pit stop. And he's coming in. Coming down pit road.
Off the 24 degrees of banking onto the flat apron, and the entrance to pit road is Dale Jarrett. Brings the Interstate Batteries car in, and here's John Curtin.
Once again, a 4-tire change all the way around. Dale gets a nice cool drink. They put the first can of gasoline in. He's got a lot of oil, it looks like, on the windshield and some pock marks that are on there that could obscure his vision. But the right side's already on, left side's going on. Dale's sitting in his car. Gas is already in. 19.1 seconds. Minnie, they could have gone 5 more laps on fuel.
Of course, they could have gone more miles on fuel, but they cannot afford to stay on the racetrack with tires that's 1 second a lap slower than some of the faster cars that have stopped and put on new tires. Fresh tires, folks, are unbelievably faster than the used tires.
And there is the leader of the race, Jeff Burton, who comes down and now once again picks up the lead. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Should have stayed on it when he walked up to Larry McReynolds and said, I didn't get that left rear tight.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'd hate to go up there and tell that story.
Only thing I'm surprised is that Lenny hasn't made the show yet.
Yeah, well, he got one or two.
This is Raymond Fox,
Raymond
right?
Fox, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's only...
We're nearing the halfway point, are we? What's the halfway point? We are at the halfway point.
164.
Thank you.
We only got two of the...
Yep, there they are. Yep.
Earnhardt's fixing to be lapped. Just in a hurry. Just in a hurry to get... Well,
yeah, who do you blame in this situation? You don't.
You don't.
It's just racing.
Just one of those deals that happens.
Just like yesterday, just racing.
Just push it to the edge. That's it. By the way, the 3 car's about to be lapped, Neil.
Welcome you back to Atlanta Motor Speedway and ABC's live coverage of the Purolator 500. The leader is Jeff Burton. On the left of your screen there in the blue car, and he has just put a lap down Dale Earnhardt.
And he's putting Ricky Rudd in the tied Ford on a lap down, or trying to, down the front straightaway.
Just an amazing run here this afternoon so far by Jeff Burton. Ernie Irvan has fallen to 4th position because of a problem that he encountered during the pit stop. Without question, one of, if not the fastest cars on the racetrack, but because of a problem that he had during a pit stop, he has fallen back to 4th, and the crew cam is being formed by Raymond Fox. This is what happened on his last pit stop.
You see Raymond go around, he takes the lug nuts off that left side. Here comes the jack man. Raymond looked to see where the jack man was. Car goes up, tire goes off, throws it out. Listen. He only tightened about 2 lug nuts before they let the jack down and the car left. They were trying to beat the 8 car out. We could see him shaking his head back and forth saying, no, guys, I didn't get all the lug nuts tight. How'd you like to look at Larry? Said Larry, they aren't all tight.
Well, he had to come in for a second stop, and that's what has dropped him to 4th. Now, here is Terry Labonte on pit road, running in 13th position a lap down, and obviously he doesn't like the way that thing is handling, so he comes in for a pit stop.
Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett now has been lapped. He's a lap down. We have 8 cars on the lead lap. They have 7 cars actually on the lead lap because they're still showing on their monitor the 3 car in the lead lap. That is not the case.
And so Labonte pulls back out onto the racetrack as Burton comes around and puts him a lap down again.
And there we see the 18 car, Dale Jarrett. And there's Rudd. And there's Dale Earnhardt.
And Jerry Punch is standing down with his car owner, Richard Childress.
You documented that Earnhardt has definitely already lost 1 lap. He may lose more time. RC, what's the problem with the car?
Well, something's happened to the right front. It's back. We think it backed the screw jack off, and the car is dragging real bad in the corner.
Now, you can stand here and actually see the car go in the corner and almost jump sideways on it.
Yeah, what it does, it's just like taking all the wedge out of it. It's just turning the car sideways on it, plus dragging.
So the car is very, very loose and is getting worse and worse. The only chance they have is to hope for a caution flag and have a chance to put the car on pit road and raise the hood and try to fix the problem. Otherwise, it's just going to get worse and worse, which means he'll get slower and slower.
We see Rusty Wallace, another genuine draft car, move over, let all these guys go by. I think Rusty now just figured out that he's 5 laps down. He needs to finish the race, not race with anyone. Fall behind that group, let him go.
And just a few moments ago, we also got a shot of there at the front of that group is the 19 car of Loy Allen, the pole sitter. He's in 28th position, 4 laps down. 16.7-second lead that Jeff Burton has over Mark Martin, and a 21-second lead over Shepard, 23 over Ernie Irvin, and a 23.5-second lead over Darrell Waltrip. Those are your top 5 just past the halfway point in the Purolator 500. This is Jeff Burton's first Winston Cup start at Atlanta. The last driver to win in his first start here at this racetrack was Bob Burdick from Omaha, Nebraska, back in 1961. Well, next Sunday, defending IndyCar champion Nigel Mansell and the other top drivers in that series hit the streets of Australia for their first event of the year, the Valvoline Australian Grand Prix, next Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 Central and Pacific, here on ABC Sports.
And I'm told that Bob Burdick is here this week. Is that right? Yeah. There we see Ernie Irvin trying to keep Waltrip behind him. Darrell, this is for position 4 spot. Ernie's car still running well. So is Darrell Waltrip's.
As we told you, Waltrip was leading at one point in the race, and the last time the slowest qualifier, as Darrell Waltrip won a NASCAR Winston Cup race, was Johnny Mance back in the Southern 500 in 1950. You don't remember that? I thought you were in it.
There we see the 77 car ran so well early on, had the tire, the miscue in the pits. That front tire came on.
That's a battle, by the way, for 14th position, Benny, between Sachs in 77 and Schrader in 25.
Is that the 16 car? Bobby Labonte, Musgrave and Labonte. Musgrave is in the lead lap. He is the lapping period. Bobby Labonte. Labonte is in 15th. Musgrave is in 6th spot. Those guys better not look in the rearview mirror because they'll see the 8th car and then they'll panic.
The 8, of course, is the leader of the race, Jeff Burton.
Yeah, back there he comes. There he is. About to lap late speed in the Ford quality care car. Now look at the 18 car is caught back up with Jeff Burton. And what does that say? And I don't really know. Is Jeff Burton having a problem, or is Dale Jarrett getting faster?
When we come back with more of our live coverage here on ABC Sports of the Purolator 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway, Jeff Burton is the leader. Well, he's not showing so on the scoreboard.
Who?
Earnhardt.
He is, though.
Well, he is, but he's not showing that. That's what's confusing me here.
Yeah, where is that?
The Busch race summary from yesterday.
Where do we have a nice one?
Only that.
watching that 18. Hey, get off that 18 car. Ned's going to have a heart attack if you guys don't get off that 18 car.
We're back at the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is Paul Page, 181 laps of the 328 lap scheduled distance now into the record books. And so far, we've only had 2 caution periods, the most serious when John Andretti on lap 4 got into the wall, but he was checked out and is all right. So the key to this race now seems to be the run of Jeff Burton. Hoosier tires here. In fact, for a while, the Hoosier tires have been in 2 of the top 4 positions, so that's changed for the last few moments. And during the last few laps, he has been challenged by Dale Jarrett, who is not running on the same lap in the 18 car, but appears to be able to keep pace with him. Jack Arute has an update on this.
Well, Paul, you've got to remember that Dale Jarrett has fresher tires than Jeff Burton does. In fact, fresher tires by some 8 laps. When we checked with Kenny Wilson, the crew chief for Jeff Burton, said, is there a problem? He said, no, Burton is aware of the situation vis-a-vis the tires, and he's not at all concerned, at least at this point, about Jarrett. Paul?
So Jeff Burton runs on the game plan and well out in front of second place. Run continues nice and smooth, and Atlanta averaging right now at 151.45 miles an hour. Back to Bob Jenkins.
6 cars on the lead lap, being led by the number 8 car of Jeff Burton. There he is, putting another lap on the 98 of Derek Cope. He now goes 2 laps down in 16th spot. And the roof cam on Cope's car.
Good look at our leader. Jeff Burton. This is going down in turn 1 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Burton's car handles so nice. Middle of the racetrack.
Paul mentioned earlier in the show about how there are new grandstands, it seems, every time we come here. And a lot of construction going on in turn number 2. They're building condominiums out there. And eventually they want to change the shape of this racetrack and lengthen it to 1 3/4 miles. So a lot of improvements and a lot of new things to look for here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the coming years.
You see Dale Jarrett's interstate battery car go by Derek Cope.
And again, Jarrett is running in 7th spot, 1 lap down.
Not had a good year in 1994. I talked to him the other day, and he said he realizes they're struggling, but they're working as hard as anybody. You're trying to find the magic to get that car around the racetrack as well as some of the other cars.
Running in 2nd position to Burton is Mark Martin. 3rd is Irvin. 4th is Darrell Waltrip. 5th is Morgan Shepherd. And 6th is the number 16 car of Ted Musgrave. Those cars on the lead lap.
Just cruising along. Nobody in front, nobody behind. Our leader, Jeff Burton.
He's been the top finishing rookie in the past 2 races and hopes to pull off his first NASCAR Winston Cup win here this afternoon.
That would be something else if he could pull it off. I stopped by Kenny Wilson this morning, and I told Kenny in my opening I was going to say that it was going to be between the 2, 3, 6, and 28. Those guys need to make a liar out of me. He's doing a pretty good job of it.
He sure is, and we're into the 2nd half of the race, and so to summarize the first half of this event, here once again is Paul Page.
As we take a look at the Busch race summary, Jeff Burton leads at one of 7 drivers that has led with 13 different lead changes here. We've had 2 caution periods. The average speed at 151.015 miles an hour is not really that. John Andretti was the first when he got up against the wall. Several of these cars out with engine failures in the early going. Most recent being Dave Marcus. Bob?
So Jeff Burton continues to set the pace on this event.
And remember when I talked about the black going to the top of the racetrack? Early on, it was the black stripe down in the corners was narrow. They're getting wider and wider. These cars are going up the racetrack, trying to find some grip. Jeff Burton's finding in the middle of the racetrack, on the bottom, anywhere he goes, but some of the cars are really struggling, trying to find the grip through the corners.
Another Napa field summary showing you where each driver is running at this particular time with 138 laps to go. Again, at the top of the show, Paul mentioned the fact that Wally Dallenbach in the Richard Petty-owned car, one of those that did not make the race. They packed it up and headed for level cross last night. Richard Petty did hold an impromptu news conference yesterday afternoon after failing to make the race, and said that he was essentially going to play a larger role in the future of that race team. He felt like he's making too many personal appearances and not devoting enough time to the car. So he even indicated some possible changes in crew members and staff of the Richard Petty Racing situation. And so we will see if Dallenbach can improve his status in future races. But Richard Petty obviously is concerned that his car has missed two races in a row. Well, we're going to get some commercial breaks out of the way here while things are kind of in a lull, if you will, with Jeff Burton well out ahead of this race. And we'll be back with more of our live ABC coverage of the Purolator 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. I've already mentioned both of those, Neil. For your concern, yes.
In fact, the one car blew up, didn't it?
What's that? What'd you say, Paul? Oh, okay. Yep.
Oh, Trickle almost hit the wall.
Really? Give me heart failure.
Did you see it? It looked like a right front tire went back on the corner. Went straight towards you. That's the 6th and 28th for position, and the 17. That one, yeah.
Wow. How about that?
Evidently, Mark can't stand for anybody to be behind him. I mean, honestly, he just pulls over every time anyone gets behind him.
Is this a scheduled stop? Oh, he's off sequence, isn't he? Here's Earnhardt also.
Back in Atlanta Motor Speedway, scheduled pit stops beginning to take place. Our second place car a moment ago, Mark Martin now on pit road. In fact, just about a moment ago, he backs off the throttle left a couple of cars go by. Darrell Waltrip and the 28 car of Ernie Irvin, because he was going to come down pit road a lap later. Here is Martin now getting left side tires on the valve of Ford Thunderbird. He's down off the jack and away. Now, he makes his way down pit road. Dale Earnhardt has finally come on the pit road, and they were going to try to work on the car, but not under the green flag. They simply changed tires and dropped the jacket, and he's away.
So both Mark Martin and Earnhardt garner up their speed as they go back out onto the racetrack. This is why Mark Martin, he was in second position, and then he saw in his rearview mirrors both Irvin and Waltrip.
And he decided, hey, I think I'm going to go in the pits, give me some fresh tires so I can race with these guys. You'll see Ernie go by. That is for position, Ernie Irvin and Darrell Waltrip. As we speak, there goes Waltrip
into second.
Second place from 40th to second.
A great run by Darrell Waltrip, and there is Ted Musgrave in number 16 going a lap down. He is the 5th place car, so only 4 cars now on the lead lap at the 200 lap mark. Burton slides a little bit high on the racetrack, and Musgrave closes in again, but he'll continue. Yeah, right. This is Ted Musgrave's 8th Atlanta start. His best previous finish was an 8th. 1993.
Is that car hooked up? Never seen the Quaker State car having some problems low on the racetrack. Jeff Burton is having no problems.
Brett Bodine, we talked to him in the garage area a while ago. He's back out there, and so is Harry Gant. He was in 35th position, but trying to complete as many laps as possible. There's Rusty Wallace, who is in 29th position, 6 laps off the pace.
Never see Rusty Wallace. Kenny Schrader. Wallace in the middle, Schrader on the right side of your screen, and watch Bobby Hamilton in the black car up very high on the racetrack, trying to find any kind of grip.
He had all 4 tires up in the light gray.
He did.
Schrader going to the inside of Hamilton.
I don't know about Bobby a bit, not where he's racing.
Bobby is 18th. And Jeff Burton just moves by both of them very easily.
You know, Kenny Wilson and his pit crew right now, that looks like he's coming in the pits. Guess not.
Take a look at what happened to Ken Schrader a few laps ago.
He went in the corner high and a little bit too high.
Yeah.
Almost got some fence.
That'll get your attention. Jeff Gordon is in, Jerry.
And they've already changed the right side tires, Bob. Each one of the 8 cars being shown a lap down, currently running in 8th position. Left side tires going on, and last year's Rookie of the Year will pull away and head for turn 1.
Jeff Gordon was running in 8th position when he came in for the pit stop.
As he leaves the pits, I'll tell you that Kyle Petty has some type of problem. He's moved down to the inside of the racetrack, still running, but
Kyle was in the top 10. Look at this. Only 11 laps today have been run under caution, and I hope that continues. A very safe race. The only significant wall contact was John Andretti. He's okay. Curtis Markham also hit the wall in the backstretch, dropping him out of the race, but he was not injured. And it's been a day so far that Jeff Burton will long remember, and if he should pull off the win, I'm sure it's a day he'll never forget.
Yeah, that's for sure. And the crew right now, great that he has such a lead that they don't have to make an 18-second pit stop. When he goes in, they can take their time. A 22, 23-second pit stop, not a problem. He has such a huge lead as we watch Mark Martin with those fresh tires go blowing by the leader, Jeff Burton.
Getting back 1 lap, he is now 1 lap back. He was 2 in 11th position. Mark Martin with the fresh tires, getting one of his 2 lost laps back. There is the 21 car of Morgan Shepherd, who now is the last car on the lead lap in 4th position, and Jackaroo has a report.
Benny Parsons, about 14 laps ago, Morgan Shepherd radioed in that the car had developed a severe push. He wanted to pit at that time. The Wood brothers, lap after lap, have been working on the radio, pleading with him to stay out at least until lap 210. You know how tough that is.
And we have a crash. Brett Bodine and Dale Jarrett have collided in turn 3. We'll get back to Jack to have him complete the story in just a moment. It appears as if both cars will be able to continue running to the pit area, but Brett Bodine and Dale Jarrett have brought out our 3rd caution of the afternoon.
Well, it's a huge break for the 21 car and the 28 car.
Let's see Jeff Burton come around and take the checkered flag. Nobody will be getting a lap back right there. We saw earlier that, as you indicated, Mark Martin did get one of his 2 laps back. Nobody was in a dash to the caution flag with Jeff Burton. Here is Bodine pulling to a stop in his pit area. And, in fact, he's going to take it behind the wall.
Well, that's one thing you want to avoid. He said, you know, we're going to run bad. Let's don't go home with a wrecked race car. Let's try to fix it. You never see that. Looks like something happened to his car. He goes up, spins, and poor Brett has no place to go but right in the side of the 18.
Brett was trying. He was trying to decide where, if anywhere, he could go to avoid. He couldn't. And it appears as if Brett Bodine was just a victim of circumstances, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, as Jarrett was sideways between the third and fourth turns. And so the caution comes out on lap number 208. And the pit crews get ready for some more activity down below us.
Let me explain that only the cars on the lead lap may pit. So only when the cars go down pit road, only 4 cars will go down pit road. Here comes our leader, Jeff Burton, down pit road.
Let's have Jack complete his story. Jack.
Well, Benny, it's an old story now, because what Morgan Shepherd needed, he got, and that was a yellow flag so he could come in and solve that severe push.
Triple split for you. Jeff Burton is on the top, Darrell Waltrip in the middle, and Ernie Irvin on the bottom. Darrell Waltrip is the first to arrive at his pit area, and so the first to have work started on his car. Jeff Burton's crew going to work, and just now Ernie Irvin pulls to a stop, and he's pitted down closer to the exit of the pits, of course. The clock's running on all 3 drivers as they sit and wait for their pit crews to complete their work. 19.5-second pit stop for Darrell, 19.4 for Jeff Burton. And now it's an 18-second pit stop, a good one for the Ernie Irvin crew, as all 3 cars are running again. They were all good, but the best was Ernie Irvin. He's going to come out onto the racetrack into second position ahead of Darrell Waltrip.
And Raymond Fox, the left side tire changer on the 28 car, is really breathing a sigh of relief. It's not his fault now if they lose. It could have been if this caution flag hadn't dropped.
All chances are equal now, huh? So we'll continue with our live coverage here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
The 18 car go to the garage? He did.
Hey, Benny, on the Bob Burdick story,
yeah.
you know that after he ran here, he ran a couple more races, and he had a relief driver. And the relief driver crashed the car, and he was out of business.
Yeah.
That's why he dropped out of Winston Cup, or back then Grand National races.
I'll be darned.
He only owned 1 race car, and it was all his local people, and they came down here, and they just surprised the heck out of themselves when they won. And they ran up, I believe it was Trenton, was where they actually had to get a relief driver. The guy wrecked the car, and they were out of business.
That was it, huh? Well, good. Okay. Good. Bob gets a breather. Thank you. And Paul throws it to break. Okay.
Still under caution at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is Paul Page. This is our 3rd caution of the day. Only 13 laps have been run under the caution. Tonight here on ABC, it begins with America's Funniest Hour. And then someone's cloned a brand new Superman on an all-new Lois and Clark. And Tom Selleck stars in the network premiere of An Innocent Man on the Sunday night movie tonight here on ABC. Well, thus far in the race, as we are at 211 laps of the 328 laps the scheduled distance, It has been an interesting situation to watch a young man like Jeff Burton get up in the front of the field and lead so easily. I've been watching, too, the run of Darrell Waltrip, who stopped well back in the second row from last and now runs in third place. But for a roundup of everybody else, let's begin with Jerry Punch.
Well, Paul, it's not been a good day for some of the pre-race favorites fitting down where I am. Look at Dale Earnhardt. He is 3 laps down and has a ratchet problem in the front of the car. Rusty Wallace, a broken right side window cost him 6 laps. And I'm currently standing in Mark Martin's pit. They lost 2 laps for an early pit stop. They've made up 1. They're still 1 down. Let's check in with Jack Arute.
Well, Jerry, as he goes behind me, Ernie Irvan goes back onto pit road for some additional service. But the thing that's impressed me so far is the brilliant run by the youngster Jeff Burton. You've got to remember that before the start of the race, his headset inside the car knocked out. He cannot talk to the crew. I asked Kenny Wilson, well, what have you been saying to him? He's like, keep telling me, be calm, be steady, be calm. Leads me to wonder kind of maybe what they ought to do is never let a driver talk on the radio. What about it, John Kernan?
Jack, I know some people feel that way about us pit announcers. Well, Ernie Irvan had just come in, as Jack told you, it was for fuel only. Yes, Jeff Burton has impressed me. I've had a chance to watch Jeff come up through the late model stock ranks out into Southern Virginia, Southside Virginia, into Busch Grand National Racing. He's impressed me as a very level-headed driver. He knows what he needs to get out of a race car, and he doesn't get in a lot of bad situations. But I want to give an award to the crew. If I had an award to give, I'd give it to Barry Dodson. They made some drastic adjustments to that race car early on. Darrell Waltrip is now in a position where he might be able to win the race. That last stop, they made just a minor adjustment. They feel the car is perfect, and on the last run, they were not falling off lap times as much as Jeff Burton was. Paul?
All right, some of the observations of the stories that we began at the start of the day. Let's take a look through the top 10 as we're ready to go back to green flag racing. They'll come back to green on lap 213. Here's Bob Jenkins.
The crowd still on its feet as the green flag comes out to resume the competition. It is Burton, followed by Waltrip, then Morgan Shepherd, then Ernie Irvan. And those 4 cars are the only cars on the lead lap.
Ernie Irvan stopped to make a pit stop to top off the gas tank. That tells me he can make 1 more pit stop. And all the rest of the time.
Look at Darrell Waltrip right on the back bumper of the 10 car driven by Ricky Rudd. I thought for a moment there that he would hook up with Rudd and try to pass Burton on the low side, but that did not work out. So Burton continues to hang on to the lead. There is Morgan Shepherd working on the low line in turn number 1.
He loses the spot to Ernie Irvan. Irvan takes over that 3rd spot from Morgan Shepherd.
So Ernie Irvan begins his march now to the front once again as Rudd tries to get a lap back.
And he does. He passes the leader. Here comes Darrell Waltrip for the lead.
Waltrip has the lead. Ricky Rudd still 1 lap down, but Darrell Waltrip goes from 40th starting position to the lead once again.
And Morgan Shepherd passed Ernie Irvan to retake 3rd. Now he's trying to take
So just some great racing here on this restart. Burton is back to 3rd position now. Shepherd has 2nd. Burton works up high, trying to hold on to that spot as Ernie Irvan goes to the low side in turn number 2.
The 15 car of Blake Speed in there in the mix, trying to get a lap back. He and Ricky Rudd.
Blake Speed is in 5th position, a lap down, and some very, very close racing. There's the group of the group cam on Morgan Shepherd's car.
He has the 2nd spot.
Ernie Irvan is in 3rd, and Burton has fallen back to 4th position.
See Rudd. Morgan Shepherd goes by Rudd. Ernie Irvan goes by.
He's concerned about fuel. Content right now to just back off and let everybody go, but to keep them in sight. Remember, this race has been won on numerous occasions with fuel mileage. The most recent to do so was last year at this event when Morgan Shepherd stretched his, and Ernie Irvan takes over 2nd from Shepherd. And now Irvan sets his sights on the leader, Darrell Waltrip. It's once again the roof cam on Shepherd's machine.
They started 40th and going all the way to 1st. I mean, there's a company, AP Parts, that sponsors the challenge. The driver who starts the farthest back and comes up to the front. Darrell Waltrip easily going to win that $2,500.
That's for sure. And Benny, if there's a team that needs a good finish, it's perhaps Darrell Waltrip's, because he has had some miserable finishes. And, a car into the wall. Derek Cope.
Pretty heavy contact with the front of that car. The back of the car, excuse me.
The back of the car is gone, essentially.
How in the world? Looks like he backed in the fence, but how did the car end up in that kind of shape as the caution flag waves?
Heavy contact. Derek Cope into the wall, bringing out another caution.
Now then, we got to see if Ernie Irvin, his crew evidently thinks he can go the rest of the way. Will he stay out? Will the other cars come in to top off with fuel to make sure they can go the rest of the way? Time will tell.
In any case, the pace car picks up Darrell Waltrip, the leader, and slows the pace once again. The average speed of the race is 150.9, but once again, our pace is interrupted by a caution. This time, a crash involving Derek Cope.
We see that there's some holes in the windshield, looks like. This is Bill Elliott's car. Evidently some debris off the man right in the center.
Yeah.
Some debris off Derek Cope's car, possibly, with the windshield. Well, thank goodness they have a piece of bulletproof glass behind the windshield.
And the leaders come in for a stop again. Only those on the lead lap will come in, and all four of them have chosen to come in and top off.
That's amazing. I thought Ernie would stay out there because they've only run a couple, 3 laps on the green.
And Waltrip is getting new tires on the right side of that car.
They're all going to change tires while they're there. Except the A car. He's not changing tires.
Just fuel for Jeff Burton.
And here he goes. All the rest of them changing 4 tires.
Well, this will give him track position, but I'm not sure how important that is at the moment. Waltrip is moving again. So is Ernie Irvin. Morgan Shepherd's crew completes the work on the Citgo Ford, and he goes. And Jack, why only gas for Burton?
Bob, you got to remember that the Burton car is shod with Hoosier tires. And remember, Ernie Irvin was the first one to point it out that the Hoosier tires, the longer that they're on, the better they seem to get. The biggest concern that this team had was whether or not they were going to have enough fuel. That's why Jeff Burton backed off the throttle just a little bit, because they were trying to conserve fuel. Let's check in with Larry McReynolds and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Larry, why would you come back in? Your car just 4 on the lead lap. You made a pit stop maybe 6 or 7 laps ago.
Yeah, we topped off and we was good to go on fuel, but 4 cars on the lead lap. We'll take in fresh tires anytime, especially when we're trying to run against that 17 and 8 right now. So the 4 fresh tires is worth the gamble. Even if nobody else had pitted, it'd still been worth being 4th with 4 fresh tires. But I think 3 of the other 4 took fresh tires, so we like it.
We'll see if the tires will make a difference. 3 of them decided to go with tires, 1 didn't. We'll find out who wins.
As the field begins to assemble, but up on the racetrack, high in turn number 2, is still the crashed car of Derek Cope. Let's see if we can determine what happened. We ride along with Derek. There he passes by Tim Musgrave.
Goes in the corner. And the car just all of a sudden went sideways. I don't know if there was some contact with the 16 car or not.
Now, what happened to Bill Elliott? We noticed a shattered windshield on his car. Let's see if we can determine. Yep. Wow. Just like a bullet coming right at you. Thank goodness for the shatterproof glass, the bulletproof glass that they have in these cars. Here is Elliott making the stop, and they will now begin to make repairs on the windshield of that Budweiser Ford.
Well, they're just going to put some tape over the spot. They're not going to try to change the windshield.
John Kernan with a report on Darrell Waltrip.
Well, Darrell Waltrip did not want to pit that time. As you said, Benny, they only had just a few laps on the tires, but his crew chief Barry Dodson knew that the Goodyear teams would come in and change tires. Darrell, of course, on the Hoosiers, so he said, hey, why give them a 2-3 lap advantage? The tires have seemed fairly equal on the top cars today as far as the lap times falling off. Fuel-wise, they were good to go with only 1 more pit stop, but they just did not want to take a chance and give up a couple of laps of older tires to the Goodyear teams.
So we're looking down right now and seeing Derek Cope walk out of the ambulance into the hospital. That's good news.
That is good news. So Derek Cope apparently not injured, at least not injured seriously, in his incident with the wall in turn number 2. The Purolator 500 live here on ABC Sports from Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. While we're under caution, we'll take another break and be right back with more of our coverage. Oh, my God. Paul does the disclaimer and the IROC. He throws it to us for a summary of Cope and Elliott. Back to Paul for... Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you guys got it.
Yeah.
Hey, Lenny. Lenny? Lenny, the whole world knows your battery died.
Lenny's battery died.
It was big, whatever
yeah,
it was. Big and heavy. Is that Corky? How much damage as that car had? It could have been anything.
Yo. Oh, really? Ooh.
Back at the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, 223 laps complete. We are under caution. Assisting ABC Sports with these aerials today from Atlanta Motor Speedway, the fine folks from Chevrolet giving us this magnificent view down on this track, constantly under development, always grandstands under construction. Coming up next here on ABC Sports, it's on to the high banks of Daytona as 12 of the world's top drivers go head-to-head in the ultimate test of skill. It's the first round in the International Race of Champions. More racing here on ABC. That's coming up next, right after the Purolator 500.
Now let's determine why we are under caution for the fourth time this afternoon. It was an incident involving Derek Cope that also involved Bill Elliott. And here is the perspective that Derek Cope had of this accident.
He comes off turn 4, accelerates down the front straightaway by the 16 car of Ted Musgrave, goes in the corner, and looks like just lost control, backs in the wall, and then the front goes around, slams the wall.
And Bill Elliott was coming along behind all this, and watch what happened to him.
He goes down in the corner, coats up against the wall, and all of a sudden, bam, something hits the windshield.
Here's Jerry Punch.
Let me just mention that the crews have the option to run a Lexan windshield. Unfortunately, Bill Elliott's team still have glass windshields in the car. And Bill just said that simply an object came through the windshield right past him like a missile. He said, I was very, very lucky. They have taped the windshield. It is barely hanging on in the front of that Budweiser Ford. And see, if it was Lexan, guys, it wouldn't have cracked. But this one, unfortunately, was glass and is in a lot of pieces just hanging on to the front of the car. Let's check in with Paul Page.
Well, and a big chunk of visibility gone from the center of Bill Elliott's windshield. When they go back to green, it'll still be Jeff Burton running in front of Ernie Irvan.
Oh, well.
Yes, John?
Hey, Barry Dodson and Billy Hodges and those guys want to know if a team in Atlanta has ever started 40th or fallen back to dead last and come back to win the race. Y'all have the answer to that?
I don't know. they got an AP decal on the car, if they're eligible for the $2,500.
The AP decal?
Yeah.
Going for your ad-libs?
Yeah. Yeah, Benny.
I always know right where they are.
Good.
What's it?
Whoa.
God.
Man.
So, did it come through?
Yeah.
Are you sure it didn't bounce?
It
What's
went over
this?
the car.
That's just the glass.
Oh,
so whatever it was went over the top. Well, he didn't see it. He's looking left.
The windshield, yeah.
That's spectacular.
That's what those 3 bars are for, is to keep the windshield from caving in.
It worked perfectly.
But as high as he's been running, he's going to have trouble seeing the wall.
Has anybody ever started last here and won? No. Okay.
That's
30.
No. I don't know.
Okay. Has been completed under green as you rejoin us at Atlanta Motor Speedway for ABC's live coverage of the Purolator 500. Ernie Irvan has just taken over the lead once again from Jeff Burton.
That's all he needed was about a half a lap to take over the lead once again.
Darrell Walters still runs third and Morgan Shepherd fourth. Those 4 cars in the lead lap. Fifth, the lap down is Lake Speed.
See, folks, 101 laps to go. One more pit stop if this thing stays green flag. Watch as Bill Elliott goes down the corner. We're going to slow this thing down and watch as an object hits the windshield and goes over. And you see those 3 bars on the inside of the windshield? The job is to keep that windshield from coming in on the driver, and they did their job.
They did it to perfection, and you really wonder what it was that came up and hit that windshield. It was something big because it put a big hole in the windshield, and it's just very lucky that it didn't come into the cockpit. But the bars, as you indicated, did do their job. Let's update you on where your favorite driver is running as we present another Napa Field summary.
Lake Speed back in 5th spot, 1 lap down.
Very good run for Lake.
So look at Greg Sachs has fought his way back to 7th spot, 1 lap down after the tire fell off during a pit stop, left front tire.
Jimmy Spencer having a good run.
Couple laps down, Musgrave.
And Hud Strickland is in 15th position. Bill Elliott is 2 laps down, running in 16th. Earnhardt is 17th position, 3 laps down. Loy Allen, our pole sitter, currently running 23rd, 4 laps down to the leader. Sterling Marlin not having a good day. He ran into Bill Elliott before the green flag came out. He's running 28th. Dale Jarrett was running in the top 5. He was leader of the race at one point. However, he has dropped out because of an accident up in turn 3.
I think something happened to Jarrett's car that might have caused that accident. I really don't know.
Anyway, that's how they're running as we have less than 100 laps to go now.
You see Mark Martin and Lake Speed. They're racing for position for that 5th spot.
Both of them are lap down, but they're racing for the 5th spot. This is the roof cam, was the roof cam on Mark Martin's car. Look how low he is on the racetrack.
Jimmy Spencer in the 27 McDonald's car. I think everyone knows who that sponsor is by looking at the hood.
Pretty obvious. Martin again taking a look to the inside, coming off the corner, but Lake Speed covers the spot as he passes by Spencer as they go down the back stretch.
As far as 2 laps down to the leader, Ernie Irvan, 1 lap down to these cars.
Also in that shot is Kyle Petty at 42, mellow yellow. He's ninth, 2 laps down. Mark Martin pulling alongside Jimmy Spencer. There's Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon also on the left of your screen, right of your screen, I should say.
There's Kyle on the side of Jimmy Spencer, trying to get by.
142 mile-an-hour average. Look at the huddle of the Jeff Burton crew. They're trying to find out how they can pull off this victory here today and give Jeff his first NASCAR Winston Cup win. We remember Jeff's first Busch Grand National win at Martinsville a few years ago, and won a tremendous celebration in Victory Lane then, and we can only anticipate that happening again.
Remember his wife, I guess she was girlfriend at the time. He has since married Kim Brown, it was.
Yeah.
She went nuts. I tell you what, if she gets that excited in Martinsville, she will go crazy here in Atlanta. Not that was a Busch race. This is the Major Leagues, the Winston Cup.
Let us not forget that for Jeff Burton at the moment is in second position because Ernie Irvin is out front.
I guess Kenny Wilson was telling the crew, hey guys, we got to make one more pit stop. We got to do it as well as we can with no mistakes. Jack Arute, is that what he was telling them?
Well, we'll ask Kenny Wilson himself. Kenny, what was the huddle and what did you say in the huddle?
I was just, we got one more stop here before the end of the race, and keep everybody, we're in a good situation right here, and I just want them to be cool and do what they normally do and not get excited about it and have no mistakes.
Kenny, I'm impressed. I'm impressed, Benny Parsons. You're clairvoyant. You read his mind.
Benny, too hard to figure out.
Jimmy Spencer. Also is Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon, and Ted Musgrave.
All these cars are 2 laps down, racing for position. So you see Spencer's in 10th. That's 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Yep.
Jeff Gordon doing quite a job with that Daytona car.
Not doing bad at all.
No, he is. Just a couple laps down. And he was really not looking forward to this 500 miles here at the Purolator 500 today with that car. Just felt like he was going to be fighting in a very loose condition all day long. Here comes Rudd right up on the back bumper of Spencer.
Taking a look to the inside as he came off the corner in front of the main grandstand here and diving down into turn number 1 again. Again on the inside of Spencer, and he may have a chance at that spot. He pulls along side by side, but Spencer gets the advantage coming off the corner, and Rudd cannot make the pass. No, he's not giving up, though. Meanwhile, both Gordon and Musgrave pull in and make it a 2-by-2.
Rudd still trying. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon's going to pull up on the outside of Ricky Rudd.
He's going to try the high line.
Here comes Musgrave now that Gordon has moved up the racetrack. He's left that door open for Musgrave. He tries it.
Ted Musgrave driving for Jack Roush this year, teammate to Mark Martin. Greg Sachs is the white car up on the high side of the racetrack. He's in 7th position, a lap down. And he too has gotten everything that he could possibly ask from for that car, given the fact that he did leave the pits with the left front unattached once during the race.
And here goes Ricky Rudd. He's going to try once again to get by Spencer. This time he may have him. No, just can't get in the corner quite strong enough to make the pass. Meanwhile, Sachs is going to pass all this group of cars, it appears.
Well, he passes Jeff Gordon with ease, and now way up high on the track. Now closes down on Rudd.
Rudd sees him back there, moves over.
And now here's the 3rd place battle as Waltrip has closed in on Morgan Shepherd. Waltrip is the Waltrip of old, and it's been a few races since we have seen him this competitive, but it's good to see him. doing as well as he is.
Here comes on the inside of Morgan. Make it easy. Yes, just
sir.
Drives right by.
He's in third spot. Darrell, of course, also on the Hoosier tires, so Hoosier now second and third with Burton and Waltrip, as Irvin and Shepard carry the Goodyear colors in first and fourth. 85 laps to go.
Tell you what, Darrell Waltrip would be absolutely probably as thrilled as Jeff Burton if he wins this race. 94 has been miserable for Darrell Waltrip.
That is for sure. Maybe he's turning it around here today, though. But Ernie Irvin is the man of the moment. He continues to lead the Purolator 500 with 243 of 328 laps completed.
Jeff Gordon passed that group of cars. That's a 26 car back on the track, yeah.
Notice the overwhelming response.
Hey, Neil, you're the producer.
Oh.
I'm leaving too. Paige can handle this.
Hey, Neil, why don't we just go back up over the stories that we touched on at the top of the show and say where they are? Darrell Waltrip.
You know,
At the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Jeff Burton is less than a second back of Ernie Irvin, the leader of this race. Darrell Waltrip is 3 seconds behind. Morgan Shepard 4, and Mark Martin is in 5th position, a lap down, and 38.23 seconds behind. We're 248 laps into this event, and there is Ernie Irvin, looking for his second consecutive win in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Well, when we came on the air, we talked about a number of issues, a number of stories that had developed. Let's go back to each of our pit reporters and have them tell us how these stories are working out. First, to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, I hate to say I told you so, but remember at the very beginning of the show, the Hoosier engineers said today things will change. We have not been a factor in the race throughout the first 3 events of 1994, but today we will be a factor. And I think Jeff Burton is certainly showing that the Hoosiers have done their homework here in Atlanta. Well, remember Loy Allen, he's had some troubles here. He had a cut tire early on. The other guys pitting down here were pre-race favorites. Dale Earnhardt has a problem with the right front ratchet. He is now 4 laps down in 17th spot. Let's check in with Jack Aroon.
Jerry, remember before the drop of the green flag, I was all the way back in the pack in 40th position with Darrell Waltrip, who was making his 600th career start. One of the things to remember is this is exactly the same car that he brought here in the fall to Atlanta Raceway, and he ran so well, although he didn't win the race. They made some changes in the race for the pole position, but they felt confident about the race today. Let's check in with John Kernan on the report top of the show for him.
Well, you know, Jack, I mentioned about the possibly a new Dominator on the scene. We'll look at top of the scoreboard and see who we have there. The 28 car, Ernie Irvan, is looking for his second win of the year. He's the only driver in Winston Cup this year to have top 5 finishes in all 3 races. Despite that miscue on pit road, they are leading the race right now. And let's go down pit road to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And what about the saga of poor Rusty Wallace? He didn't have a great qualifying run, but always runs well here when he doesn't qualify well. It was a year ago, or back in November, he qualified back in the field, ended up winning the race in November. He broke a vent out of the right side window. It cost him 6 laps early on. Any chance of victory gone away for Rusty Wallace. Let's check in with Jack.
And that problem, Jerry, put to bed and put to rest the rivalry between Ernie Irvan's crew and Rusty Wallace's crew. But the same cannot be said for the rest of the crews up and down pit road. We've seen the pressure all day to try and take a 17-second stop and make it a 15-second stop. In the case of Ernie Irvan, it was some loose lug nuts. One of the crews right here that's currently running in second, young Jeff Burton's crew led by Kenny Wilson. Just a couple of moments ago, you saw him huddle everybody together and say, let's not make a mistake on the last pit stop. This race still could very well be won or lost on pit road.
And the point I made at the beginning of the broadcast was, remember all the upsets yesterday? Well, here could be an upset winner in March Madness at Atlanta Motor Speedway. If Jeff Burton can pull all the victory, I think that you could very definitely consider it a major upset.
Well, I said the Hoosier cars could not win the race. You had 8 of them, 5 rookies, 1 new team, and Waltrip and Jeff Bodine, the only guys who knew how to win. I didn't figure on this guy. I didn't really think that Jeff Burton was ready to assert himself in Winston Cup racing the way he has today. I think I underestimated Kenny Wilson and that crew a little bit. They have been fabulous on pit road. But I still got Ernie Irvan, one of my final 4 in front.
And there are 73 more laps to go, so anything can happen in the remaining laps of this event as we take a ride on top of the Heilig Myers car driven by Mike Wallace, who is being shown in 24th position 5 laps down. Mike Wallace taking over this car from Bobby Hillen, who parted company with the team last week.
There's Darrell Waltrip trying to run down Jeff Burton. Let me tell you a story on this Heilig Myers car. He crashed trying to qualify on Saturday. They started to bring a backup car out to race set, and NASCAR said, no. If you crash trying to qualify, attempting to qualify, you have to fix that car. They had to fix the wreck.
Yeah, their spot would have been taken by another provisional starter had they not been able to get the car fixed, but you can believe that they worked very, very hard in order to get this car in the race. So Mike Wallace is running in 24th position.
See Darrell Waltrip right in the middle of the screen for 3rd place.
He started 40th, remember, and the lowest starting position for a winner here at Atlanta was 31st. That was Dale Earnhardt in 1980.
And I'll tell you what, I think Darrell Waltrip is gaining on Ernie Irvan. He just might have something for these guys at the end.
So Darrell Waltrip 3rd, Jeff Burton 2nd. The leader is Ernie Irvan, and we'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Why is that?
North Carolina. 2nd place, DW is on the move. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
about his 500 start that he missed because he crashed. Remember at Daytona the day before? Yep. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway and ABC's live coverage of the Purolator 500. There is Ernie Irvan, who is the leader on the race. And high above Atlanta Motor Speedway, our aerial shots today being provided by our friends at Chevrolet. Beautiful layout here, about 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta. There is Irvan.
We knew that. I think we have a new second place car since we went to break, don't we?
It's Darrell Waltrip. There's third place, Jeff Burton. Darrell Waltrip did get second. How did he do it and when? Well, let's document that.
Here we go, down in the corner, and he just turns under Jeff Burton, passes with ease. Tell you what, Waltrip is looking real good. Now the heat goes on Barry Dotson and all that crew to make a great pit stop. Fuel and 4 tires as quickly as a 28 car.
John Kernan has more on the great run today by Darrell Waltrip.
Well, Bob, you and Benny earlier said that this is vintage Darrell Waltrip. Yes, it is. How many times in the past have we seen Darrell take care of his car, take care of his tires, stick around close enough to the front, then at the tail end of the race, he goes and wins the race. At the last restart, Darrell had fallen behind and several lap cars got in front of him. He didn't panic. He just rode it out until traffic sorted itself out. He got a clear line ahead, smooth sailing, and now he is moving toward the front. Let's go down pit road to Jackaroo.
Well, John, Jeff Burton's crew chief Kenny Wilson expected the car to drop off just a bit and about this point in the race. Remember, they didn't change tires, they only took on fuel. On their final stop, though, now they feel maybe they have a little better feel for what the tires will do. The problem, though, is they cannot get any information from Jeff Burton. Remember, the radio's out. Just moments ago, they adjusted the pressures on the last set. Set 10 that'll go on in the final stop. On the right side, they're going to go down 1 pound. And on the inside, on the left side, on the rear, they're going to go down 1 pound. What about it, Jerry Punch? What's going on up your way?
Well, Ernie Irvan's crew knows if they can get their car on and off pit road about lap 280, which is about 12 laps from now, they have a good shot at picking up their second win in a row. A moment ago, Joey Knuckles and the crew, Larry McReynolds, were stretching, leaning here on the wall. You see Knuckles, one of the tire changers, leaning and stretching. Ernie has complained that the car is getting a little bit loose. As they continue to stretch, the crew is getting loose here. They will put 4 tires and 1 round of wedge or bite in the car on their final pit stop some 11 laps from now.
So we will anticipate those pit stops coming up in just a few moments. Meanwhile, we'll bring you another Napa Field summary showing you where everyone is running at the moment. They're being led, of course, by Ernie Irvan, and there he is bringing his car off of corner number 4 again, passing by Loy Allen, the pole sitter of the race and the driver who was eligible to win $68,400 in Unocal bonus money, but Loy has never been a factor in this race. You will see him in 22nd position in just a few moments, 5 laps off the pace.
Terry Labonte, who qualified 3rd at the beginning of the race. Moves away 3 laps down. Michael Walker back in 23rd, 5 laps down.
Rusty Wallace has also had his problems. He's running 27th at the moment.
Terry Gant been in and out of the pits, 39 laps down. You see Derek Cope has crashed. He's out.
Brett Bodine was also involved in that crash, but he is back out on the racetrack, completing as many laps as he possibly can.
And for you Bill Elliott fans, just to let you know, he was black flagged the last time by.
There is Irvan putting another lap on the 29 car driven by Steve Grissom.
It's Gary and Carolyn Beckles' car. And there we see Elliott. He received the black flag, and man, how does he see anything? He probably couldn't have seen the black flag.
Here's Jerry Bunch.
Kenny, you're exactly right. Bill Elliott's right side of the windshield, which was totally tape a moment ago, has now begun to cave in inside the car. It's begun to come into the car. It's somewhat concave, and you see the crew here in the pits as they get ready to put a Lexan windshield in the car. That's Jerry Kinnan, one of the crew members, along with Mike Beam, waiting for their car to make an entry on the pit road. A tough break for Awesome Bill here. A home race here, hoping to get a good finish. It won't happen today.
Bill Elliott has won this race twice. He has won the November race 3 times. He is second on the all-time active driver win list here at Atlanta with 5 victories. Dale Earnhardt, the leader in that category, with 6. And Elliott now heeds the black flag and comes in for the stop. Budweiser Ford pulling up, and the crew going to work.
See him ripping the tape off. Jerry Putz, we'll go down to you.
Now, like we showed a little bit ago, guys, the straps inside that are there for safety reasons help keep the windshield from caving in, but when it comes time to change the windshield, they become a little bit of a problem. You see, they had to unscrew some of the straps. They have to raise the hood and take some of the cowl flap area loose. They're going to push the windshield up from beneath inside the hood, pull it from around. There's a rubber strapping or sealant around the windshield, and as they pull in the windshield one time, it breaks almost completely in half. They now have what's left of the original Budweiser Ford windshield. The crew's still pulling, trying to get some of the tape they put on it away, and now they're throwing here on the ground beside behind the wall, and they will slide the brand new Lexan windshield in position. There is absolutely not much left of the windshield that came out of the race car. It is in pieces as they put the Lexan back in, put the straps back in position, and the windshield that came out is actually has about 3 or 4 holes inside it. Take a look at this windshield. We're going to show you quickly here what's left of the windshield that came out of this car. Bill Elliott was sitting behind this thing, and absolutely, as I pick it up here, Bill said something came in. Well, folks, there is a hole in that windshield where my finger is back here. It absolutely shows something could get in the race car. And Bill is very, very fortunate. Back upstairs.
He sure is, but as you can see, the window change is already completed. That was fast, and now the crew battens down the hatch in front, and Elliott will be going back out on the racetrack before too long with a much clearer view of the racetrack, Benny.
Yes. Isn't that great? Look, remember just a few laps ago when he couldn't even see the black flag?
Yep.
Well, we can see anything out of this baby.
Elliott won this race in 1985 and most recently in 1992. And the Budweiser Ford goes back out on the racetrack. Currently shown in 23rd position as he goes up through the gears in turn 1, keeping the car on the apron of the track until he reaches the backstretch, or in turn 2. See him drop it in 4th gear. Wow, this building's improved greatly, isn't it? Yes, it has. Here's Urban, the leader of the race, coming up on Jeff Gordon to try to put him another lap down. Gordon is on fresh tires, however.
He just passed the 28 car on fresh tires, and Bill Elliott was black flagged once again by the NASCAR officials. The flagmen. You see Ted Musgrave in making his final pit stop.
He was involved in that race that we were watching a few laps ago with Ricky Rudd and others. Musgrave was running in 8th position, but gives it up to make what should be his final pit stop of the afternoon. Right side tires have changed, and now the left side rubber is on, and the Family Channel 4 resumes competition. And here comes the leader, Ernie Irvan, in for his probable final pit stop. Here's Jerry.
Bob, there will be 49 laps remaining when Ernie comes down this time in the 328-lap race. The crew knows if they can get him on and off without a problem, they have a good shot of picking up their second win. Ernie got perfectly 3 feet from the front of the pit box. They put in 1 round of fire in the right rear. Remember, Ernie had complained the car was a little bit loose. Right side tires are on. Left side jack goes up. Left front, left rear going on. Right up. All the air guns seem to be working. It's full of fuel. It's down and away in 17.9 seconds. That's going to be tough to beat.
Yes, it is. They are outstanding on pit road. Less than 18 seconds to change 4 tires and get fuel in the car, and Ernie Irvan.
See Mark Martin in the pits. And Bob, Darrell Waltrip cannot stay on the racetrack. He cannot stay out there and use that fuel advantage, because if he does and the caution flag doesn't come out, he's going to be beat with Ernie out there with those fresh tires. He'll just run away from him.
Good point. Ken Schrader makes his pit stop, giving up 9th position to do so. Here's Rudd on pit road, and Jeff Burton, a second-place car, comes in. Let's go to Jack.
Young Jeff Burton with such a tremendous ride all afternoon. Now Kenny Wilson, and what does he call them, Benny Parsons? The fabulous Thunderbirds, the pit crew. Ready to go to work for what should be the final time. Burton hits the mark, will take on the fuel, going to the right side rubber. And this is a gamble because the Hoosiers will go all the way around. We documented the fact that they adjusted on the tire pressures. The right side, a little bit of a problem on the right rear, but they completed the work. To no problem on the left side, though. They're just about done. The fuel is in, and that's what's taking so long, taking a full load of fuel in 20.1 seconds, but they were done with tires in about 18 seconds.
Good point, Jack. They wanted to make sure they got all the fuel in, and it did take a couple of seconds, but nevertheless a very good pit stop for fabulous Thunderbirds.
Here comes Darrell.
Here comes Walter. John Kernan will call this pit stop as Darrell Waltrip is headed for you, John.
Well, Barry Dotson and his crew have had a little huddle. They know what they are up against. They need an 18-second pit stop. They will make a slight chassis adjustment, trying to loosen the car up to make it a little bit freer so it will run faster. There will be a 4-tire change with 4 sticker Hoosier tires. The right side's going on. Jack comes around to the left side. Waltrip sits in the car waiting patiently. The gas goes in. That's not really a concern. Left side's going on. Mud nuts on. And Darrell Waltrip is down and away in 19 seconds.
And Morgan Shepherd, who picked up the lead briefly, is in. Here's Jack.
The Citgo crew going to work. They've changed the outside tires, going to the inside now as well. The biggest concentration, believe it or not, is on cleaning the windshield for Morgan Shepherd and getting debris off the front of the car. They dropped the Jack in 22.7 seconds. He's in and out.
So all of those on the lead lap have now come in for what should be their final pit stop.
And Ernie Irvan right now has at least a full straightaway lead on Darrell Waltrip. There's Ernie Irvan. He's the leader of the race. As we go back looking for Darrell Waltrip, remember that 2 or 3 laps that Darrell stayed out there, that's how much he lost. Now he'll be able to make up some of that with his fresh tires. But too much, if Ernie get too much of a lead.
That becomes the question of the race right now. Can Darrell Waltrip cut into Ernie Irvan's lead that he has built up at this point in the remaining laps of this event here in Atlanta?
And Ernie had 2-second advantage on his pit stop. Can Darrell make it up?
Once again, we'll show you the interval that separates first and second. There's Waltrip. He has a car between himself and the leader. Darrell Waltrip running in second position. Jeff Burton is third. Morgan Shepherd fourth. And Mark Martin is fifth. The lap down. We'll be back with more in a moment. Page is yawning up here. We need to get him something to do. He's bored.
You're a dirty wretch.
Yes, I know. That's when we're really going to utilize him. That's right. You think it's been easy, huh?
Yeah. Good thing we got caution flag.
Yeah, it's down there in...
No, he got it going.
Turn 1.
No.
No.
No, he got it going.
Chicken wings.
Tell you what, good thing we got 3 pit road announcers. They can interview everybody breathing.
You got that right. Everybody that finished or even was thinking about finished.
Right.
I knew we would get him in there. Martin is helping us, and I knew that sometime during the day he would get Lenny Pond in here, and he has managed to do so. So we were going to give it to Paige because he'll read anything. I know. Please excuse us for our frivolity. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway and the Purolator 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race. An half-a-field summary will show you where everyone's running at the moment. 4 cars on the lead lap with Mark Martin 1 lap down in 5th and only 39 more laps to go.
Ford, Jimmy Spencer battling for position back 9th and 10th. There's the Bonnie. Musgrave and Rudd all 2 laps down.
And Schrader and Strickland are 3 laps down. So is Dale Earnhardt, who has not been much of a factor here today, except in the very early going. Rusty Wallace 6 laps down.
See Jeff Purvis in the 51 car. That's the country time car that Neil Bonnet was going to drive in 1994. I wish I could say it was in Neil Bonnet in that car right now.
And so wishes Jeff. He was named to drive that car a couple of weeks ago. They'll do a limited schedule this year.
And John Andretti crashed early on, just a couple of laps into the race, back in the wall. John is okay.
After doing an excellent job of qualifying and getting that car in the race, and we've already talked about how difficult it is just to make a race these days. John was out early with a crash when he became victim of circumstances.
As we watch Ernie Irvan, the problem that he's going to have with just a few laps to go, in front of him is just terrible, terrible traffic. And how he gets through that, and between him and Darrell Waltrip, there's really not much traffic. So Bill Elliott's coming down pit road one more time.
Yeah, he is. He's been black flagged a couple of times, and now brings the car in again. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure that that car has any power, Benny.
Doesn't seem like they're raising the hood, looking under there. He's got cleaning the windshield.
And 509 is also dropping off the pace from 28th position.
An oil problem early on. Star says coming down pit road, but that's somebody else coming down pit road.
Harry, what's the problem down there in Elliott's pit?
Boy, you got to feel for Bill Elliott. He sits here very helplessly in the car. He just said the car just shut off. He said, what else could happen to us? Short of getting hit by a meteor, everything else that's bad that could go wrong has gone wrong for Bill Elliott today. They finally think that possibly something in the back of the carburetor has fallen, maybe one of the shafts. They're going to take the breather off here. Mike Beam, the crew chief, working inside the car. Elliott just sits very patiently. What else can you do, guys, but sit here and watch?
We haven't determined exactly what it was that he ran into out on the racetracks. Could have been a meteor that hit his front windshield.
Didn't I hear there were some UFOs up in Michigan yesterday?
Is that right?
I'm not starting a rumor. Now, Ernie Irvan has got some problems with traffic. We see, look, all those cars right in front of him, and they realize he's the leader of the race. They don't really want to let him just blow by like he blew by Bobby Labonte. They want to make him work for it, because if a caution should come out, it would save a mile and a half for them, save a lap.
But you are right, Benny. He has probably a dozen or 15 cars up ahead of him that he has to move his way through in order to hold off the challenge of Darrell Waltrip. Of course, Waltrip's got to move through it also, but it can play a factor in the outcome of this race.
By the time Darrell gets there, this traffic may be dissipated a little bit.
So Irvan comes up now next on Ricky Rudd, who's battling with Terry Labonte. They are not on the same lap, however.
As we watch this, I will tell you, it looks like Ernie Irvan is pulling away from Darrell Waltrip just a little bit, so Darrell really needs this traffic to slow Ernie down. Something's got to slow him down.
He disposes of Ricky Rudd. Rudd is now 3 laps down in 12th position. And up ahead are Terry Labonte, Ted Musgrave, Kyle Petty, and Rusty Wallace.
move over and let Ernie go by on the outside. That was a nice sportsmanship move.
And that battle up ahead between Petty and Musgrave is for position. And here's another battle for position. No, it isn't. Mark Martin is a lap down. But he passes Jeff Burton, nevertheless, who's in third.
So evidently Jeff Burton having a little bit of problem right now. It seems like the handle has gone away on the Rebestos Ford just a little bit.
Still hanging on to third position over Morgan Shepherd, who is fourth.
Mark currently is shown in fifth position, one lap down, as Ernie goes by Sterling Marlin.
The interval from first to second is just a little shy of 11 seconds at this point.
And I guess the camshaft, they tell me, is broken on Bill Elliott's car. Jerry Punch reported that from the pits, so he will take his car to the garage here. He's finished for the day as Urban goes by Rusty Wallace. That's about all that traffic that was in front of him, so he disposed of it pretty well.
Made a nice move through there with no problems whatsoever. Waltrip, meanwhile, is running for the most part by himself at the moment. He does have Brett O'Neill ahead of him, but it'll be another lap or so before he catches up with Brett. And Ernie also has an open racetrack ahead of him.
You know, most insiders in Winston Cup racing thought that Urban and Robert Yates, Larry McReynolds would be tough this year in that Havoline Ford. I don't know if they thought he would be this tough.
He's off to a great start, let's put it that way.
Uh-oh, I got a report that something may be wrong with Darrell Waltrip's car. John Kernan.
Darrell is having a rough time out there on the racetrack. He's radioed in and told Barry Dodson he thinks he has a right front tire going down. And what happens when you go into the turn, you got a right front tire going flat, the car wants to just shoot up the speedway and go right toward the wall. So Darrell has his hands full right now. Barry Dodson is trying to decide exactly what they need to do. If it in fact is a tire going down, then they will have to get him in here and get that problem fixed because they don't want to put the car into the wall.
Benny, tell us more exactly how Darrell knows. What does it feel like when you have that right front going down, or any tire?
Well, you go in the corner and you turn the steering wheel, and the car, as John said, exactly, just wants to go straight, and you really got to put a great deal of effort to make the car go around the corner. I did that in 1970 at Daytona. I didn't realize I had a right front tire going down. It finally blew. I hit the wall, knocked the wall down, destroyed my race car. The next time my right front tire went flat, I knew exactly what the problem was.
And I'll bet you pitted to get it fixed, didn't you?
The next lap. And Darrell has hit the wall several times with his right front tire blowing out. So that's his problem right now. Is do I go in or do I stay out? How long will that tire last before it heats up?
It's been 41 races since Darrell Waltrip won. He was victorious in the 1992 Southern 500. That was his last win in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. He is currently running in second position. And now he comes up on some slower traffic, Sterling Marlin and Brett Bodine. Again, we show you the interval between first and second, and it has now opened up to almost, if not a little bit more than, a half a lap. So Ernie Irvan looks good here in the closing stages of this event. Irvan, Waltrip, Burton, Morgan Shepherd, and Mark Martin, the top five, with 304 of 328 laps at Atlanta. Take a considerable amount of that because it's only with my permission has he been able to move into this position here today. Did you hear that, Kenny?
And get first pick.
I'll take a considerable. In fact, let's just all get on him and beat him up.
Oh, the 40 car just crashed.
Whoa! Be careful. Who is that? Hell-bent for low. Is that Sachs over there, that white car? It's only the 5th caution. That's what Waltrip needed, huh? Yes, sir. Pretty good. Yes, sir.
I didn't want to see that, did he?
No. Good. Okay. Good. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where the 5th caution of the afternoon has waved over the racetrack because of an incident in turn number 2 involving Bobby Hamilton. It happened on lap 309. Hamilton went into the corner and it got out from under him, Benny.
He just got behind on his steering. He tried, he got it back, finally went around. He goes around and the front's going, and watch the flaps come up on the roof. Folks, those things are there to make the car, keep the car on the ground when they spin out. Not go around, he comes down and boom, hits the inside wall.
Those flaps are for aerodynamic purposes. It spoils the foil and keeps the car on the ground. And here come those on the lead lap in for pit stops, including Ernie Irvan on the top, Darrell Waltrip in the middle, and Jeff Burton on the bottom. Burton arrives at his pit stall. Irvan crew completes work on the right side, goes to work on the left. Darrell Waltrip is finished with 21.3 seconds. He's pitted closest to turn 4. Has to come clear down the main straightaway here at less than 55 miles an hour. Ernie Irvan completes his pit stop in 20.5 seconds. He's rolling, and Burton had the fastest at 18.7, and he too is underway again. And Morgan Shepherd is also the 4th car on the lead lap, and he too has his service completed and is away. Here's John Kernan.
Well, Darrell Waltrip finally figured it out. It wasn't a right front tire going down. It just felt that way because the way the steering wheel didn't want to turn with him. Actually, he's lost the power steering. So, Benny, at this track where you're in the turn so much, how much is that going to hurt him toward the finish of this race?
Well, we've only got about 20 laps to go, 19 laps to go, John. So, and he has a chance to win this race. It will not be a problem for Darrell Waltrip with just 19 laps to go, I wouldn't think.
I know how it feels when the power steering goes out on my car. Is it the same feeling in a stock car?
It's the same feeling, but not as bad.
Yeah.
No, not nearly as bad as it is on a stock car.
And Jerry Punch has a follow-up on Ernie Irvan.
We have seen fast pit stops. What I just saw here in the Ernie Irvan pit was a very deliberate pit stop. They know they've got plenty of race car probably to win this race on the racetrack. They cannot afford to lose it in the pits. That's why they watched and made sure that every single lug nut was on before Jeff Clark dropped the jack. As Waltrip comes back in, let's go to John Kernan.
Well, we told you it's the power steering that has gone out on Darrell Waltrip. So Barry Dodson and the crew will go underneath. They're going to add power steering fluid to try and give Darrell just a little help, all the help he needs. Hey, you got a caution. There are only, 4 cars on the lead lap, so why not take a chance as well as Darrell has run today. Barry pouring in the last drop of the power steering fluid, just a minor leak, they think, is what the problem is. And in fact, you could see where the power steering fluid had sprayed up under. Now let's go down pit road as Darrell leads to Jackaroo.
John Kernan, there's some serious concern in the pits of Jeff Burton's machine. This is the right front tire that came off here in that last pit stop. When we moved it up this way, you can look inside, and it's totally covered with oil. They're not sure what the problem is. They didn't discover it until after Burton had gone back out onto the racetrack.
Any speculation, Benny?
Was it front or rear, Jack?
Benny, it's the right front.
The right front. It looks like a grease seal on the right front hub is maybe leaking, and get some grease on the inside of that wheel.
Well, that should create a serious concern for that team.
Or it could be brake fluid as well.
Yep. Well, in any case, the field is getting lined up for a restart, possibly in one more lap. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, but the problem is, guys, is they thought that it might be grease, but they're not really sure. They were down there, they're actually taking it, tasting it, trying to figure it out. And you know, Benny, nowadays with the differences in lubricants and as lightweight as they're running, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference.
It really is. I'm sure they're very, very concerned if it is a grease seal. Are they going to run out of grease in that hub and the thing frees up for lack of lubrication? There we see all the cars in the lead lap. Irvin, the 28. Jeff Burton in the 8. The 21 car of Morgan Shepherd is now 3rd, and Darrell back to 4th.
There is a bit of a discussion, as you can see, as to who goes where for the lineup for the restart, but we should be getting a green flag next time around. As you can see, the lights on top of the pace car are off, indicating that next time around we will go back to green. That will be the completion of lap 312, beginning lap 313, and so just about 16 more laps to go to the conclusion of this race. There's the root cam on Morgan Shepherd, and he now runs in third position. Yeah.
Darrell Waltrip's all the way back to 4th, but again, I think that probably was a good move. Stopping, put it in the fluid to make the steering just a little bit easier. Because we saw all the oil, as John Kernan mentioned, up under the hood where it leaked out.
Of course, he wouldn't have even thought about doing it had that been a green flag pit stop, but it was under caution, and so they could take the time to try to fix it as best as they can for the final laps of this event. Here we go. The green flag waves. Back to racing to the conclusion of the Purolator 500.
Now, Ernie wants Mark to race these guys, to race Jeff Burton down the corner, get him up on the outside. I'll get on the inside. I'll make up about a second here while he tries to get by that traffic.
That's exactly what's happening, too. 2 cars already between Irvin and Burton. Mark Martin, don't forget, down in 5th position.
We'll see Morgan Shepherd trying to take 2nd spot away from Burton. He does. Morgan Shepherd put him in 2nd spot.
The winner of last year's race here in Atlanta is now up to 2nd place. Morgan Shepherd. Great run for the Wood Brothers team in the Citgo Ford for Morgan.
Earnhardt almost crashes coming off the side.
Earnhardt sideways coming off to the mini safety.
This is Morgan Shepherd looking at straight ahead, trying to find that 28 car and wondering how he can catch him.
Morgan Shepherd started 14th. Currently up to 2nd.
Morgan Shepherd must love this race.
He is always a factor here. A lot of debris on the racetrack this late in the race.
Now he wants leg speed to move over, let him go by. Don't hinder him by moving towards the front. Lake does that.
Has Morgan been saving something for the closing stages? He appears to be closing in on Ernie.
He does. Right now, Ernie just wants to keep the car in a straight line. Don't use the tires up. Don't get the car out of shape. Now, look, Mark Martin moved way over to let Morgan Shepherd go. Hey, you
but Mark also has to contend with the 15-car of Lake's team, who is right behind him, and they are battling for position.
That's right. They're racing for the 5th spot.
Morgan Shepherd now has clear sailing. No cars between himself and the leader. Can he close in and take the lead from Ernie Irvin in the closing 12 laps of this event?
That's what Jack LaRue was talking about. Those guys checking those tires. And they know what set of tires have run the best on their car all day long. They want exactly that same set on the car right now for the last 12 laps. Were they able to find, were they able to decipher that exactly the same tire?
Morgan Shepherd has 4 career wins, and 3 of them have been here at Atlanta. He has won this race twice, in 93, last year in 86, and he won the November race in 1990. Here comes Darrell Waltrip up to challenge Jeff Burton.
Race for third place between Burton and Darrell Waltrip. Here's Darrell looking on the inside. But Burton accelerates, goes down the straightaway in front of Darrell. He has no choice but fall back. Once again, late speed, courteous enough to move over and let these guys go.
Darrell Waltrip Waltrip is looking at 3 Fords ahead of him. Now make that 2 Fords ahead of him. He tries to take the Chevrolet past Jeff Burton. And it appears as if he has done so. Indeed, Darrell Waltrip moves to 3rd.
Down to it, just 9 laps. And I tell you what, folks, Shepard is getting closer. I think
he is. He's only maybe 10, 12 car lengths behind Ernie.
I'll tell you what, in that position, you can pick up about 2/10 of a second you didn't know you had. Because the car right in front of you being the leader of the race in the checker flag almost in the end.
The adrenaline starts pumping a little bit quicker, doesn't it?
Man, it's even pumping in me, and I'm up here in the booth.
8 laps to go in the Purolator 500, live here on ABC. Our race coverage for the evening today that will also include the inaugural Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in August.
That's going to be huge. Can't wait to go to Indianapolis Motor Speedway and run stuff.
It's going to be quite a day, and we're glad we'll be there to bring it to you. 7 laps to go, and Shepard now is within about 8 or 9 car lengths, and maybe even less than that as he closes in on Irvin.
Those cars are easy. I think you're right. I think Morgan has gained a car length or 2. We can see from the roof cam just how much closer he is to Ernie.
The Wood brothers, the owners of this car driven by Morgan Shepard, are the all-time win leaders here at this facility. They have won a total of 12 races. This race 8 times, most recently in '93 with Morgan. And the most recent Hooters 500, the fall race, was in 1981.
Coming by, 5 to go this time. Forward. There's just 5 more to go, Ernie. Here's Darrell Waltrip.
And there is Darrell Waltrip, and now he is in a position where he has no cars between himself and Shepard. But I don't think that Darrell is going to be a factor here.
Morgan Shepard has picked up a push coming off the corner. Coming off the second corner, his car is going straight for the wall. Terrible, terrible push. We watched it today.